Chapter 249. After the wordless heavenly book devoured the strange black fog, it actually gave back traces of mysterious energy. Traces of warm aura blended into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, causing Ling Xiao's mental strength to begin to grow. Ling Xiao was shocked. He could feel the wordless heavenly book's desire for the strange black fog. After suffering such a huge loss, the black fog seemed to have realized the power of the vortex in the void. It seemed to have been frightened and fled into the sea. Boom! But how could the wordless heavenly book let go? Suddenly, a dazzling light shone in the void, illuminating the underground cave. From the vortex in the void, strands of mysterious light emerged and swept in all directions. Immediately, a large amount of black fog was captured and refined by the wordless heavenly book. Rumble! At this moment, the calm sea in front of him suddenly began to boil. The waves surged and rolled, faintly forming a huge whirlpool. It was as if some unknown existence had awakened. A fatal danger shrouded his heart, and Ling Xiao's expression changed drastically. Oh no! Ling Xiao hurriedly activated the wordless heavenly book and gave up on devouring the black fog. Although the wordless heavenly book was unwilling, it eventually quieted down. Ling Xiao was now certain that the wordless heavenly book had awakened the terrifying existence in the sea. And the black sea water, Ling Xiao realized that it was formed by the strange black fog. Moreover, there was a mysterious power of law intertwined in it, binding a large amount of black fog and preventing it from escaping. The vast sea is actually formed by the strange black fog. What exactly is sealed in it? Ling Xiao felt his scalp go numb. He exerted all his cultivation and turned to run. Rumble! The black fog surged like a huge wave. In the huge vortex, a huge head slowly emerged. Black lightning spread across the void. Strands of black fog rose as if cheering and galloping. The head was as big as a small mountain. It was impossible to see its appearance clearly. Moreover, there was a strange ancient sword on the head, emitting a peerless sharpness. The head emerged from the sea of black fog, emitting a peerless evil spirit that made the world tremble. A pair of blood-red moon-like eyes slowly opened. Rumble! It was as if he was a peerless ferocious beast that swallowed the heavens. His eyes were cold, bloodthirsty, and contained a monstrous rage. After being stared at by him, Ling Xiao felt as if his entire body had sunk into mud, unable to move. This strange creature is able to trigger the power of the natural laws of heaven and earth. At the very least, it has the power of a supremacy. How can there be such a terrifying creature in the 8 desolate mystic realm? Ling Xiao's heart trembled as an incomparably grave expression appeared in his eyes. At the same time, the sense of danger in his heart rose to the extreme. Being stared at by such a terrifying creature, Ling Xiao felt a sense of helplessness. The gap was too big. Rumble! At this moment, there seemed to be countless runes shining above his head, bursting out in a mighty manner. Like a canopy in the sky, a blazing wave of divine light burst out in an instant, suppressing the terrifying creature below. At this moment, Ling Xiao's body felt light. Without even thinking, he unleashed all of his cultivation and shot off into the distance like a bolt of golden lightning. Boom! Behind him, a terrifying divine light burst out, completely enveloping the terrifying creature. At a place where Ling Xiao couldn't see, the ancient sword that was inserted into the head of the terrifying being suddenly erupted with a peerless sword light that swept out in all directions. It was mighty, masculine, and vast, and it evaporated a large expanse of the sea of black mist. Wait until I break out of the seal. I will slaughter the entire 8 desolate mystic realm. A terrifying voice reverberated in the karst cave, but it did not shatter a single rock. It was as if there was some mysterious power that had confined this space. The terrifying creature unwillingly fell silent. However, the strange ancient sword above his head had been forced out by him by more than half. Only the tip of the sword was left, as if it had triggered the power of the natural laws, firmly suppressing the creature. Ling Xiao flew for dozens of miles. When there was no movement behind him, he finally stopped. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. The 8 desolate mystic realm is indeed a place where great evil is sealed. If not for the seal, I'm afraid I would have died there. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly as he muttered to himself. However, Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with doubt. This was because Ling Xiao had felt a very familiar aura from the seal that had erupted, but he could not recall it. Ling Xiao shook his head and looked around. He realized that he had come to an unfamiliar place. In front of him was an underground river that twisted and turned, leading into the distance. They are cultivating in that spiritual spring. It should be very safe. I'd better go out and investigate. Following this underground river, I should be able to find the exit. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and flew into the distance. The underground river was indeed connected to the outside world. When Ling Xiao followed the underground river and left the karst cave, he saw a huge waterfall in front of him. The cliff was thousands of feet high, and the huge waterfall rushed down. The surging waves were majestic and majestic. The huge pool below the waterfall turned into a huge river that flowed towards the mountains in the distance. Over there, Ling Xiao could vaguely see a dilapidated palace complex. Furthermore, there were figures flashing. Are they from the great Huang ancient country? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. In an instant, he concealed his aura and sneaked into the distance. Ling Xiao's mental strength was very strong, and his eyesight was also very sharp. Therefore, he easily discovered that the three people were following Huang Yunji. However, looking at their sneaky figures, he did not know what they were planning. Ling Xiao's mouth curved into a smile as he quietly crept towards the three people. Why do you think the seventh prince wants us to follow the people from the great Shen ancient country? Can't he just capture them and interrogate them? Why is it so troublesome? A voice said with dissatisfaction. It's not as simple as you think. I heard that although Ji Shuiyao's cultivation is only at the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm, her combat strength is extremely abnormal. Even the 7th prince is wary of her. Anyway, no matter what treasure they find, it will definitely be ours. Another voice said calmly. However, these little girls are really beautiful. Their figures are simply enough to make one's bones go soft. Hee hee, when the 7th prince is done, we brothers will also have a good time. That's a good idea. Ha, be alert. Don't be discovered by them. The 7th prince will be here soon. The three geniuses from the great Huang ancient country whispered. Not far away, Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and revealed a trace of coldness. Chapter 250. The dilapidated palaces were located between two mountains. One could still see the glorious buildings from 10,000 years ago, but now, they were all in ruins. Ling Xiao could see that Ji Shuiyao and the rest had already entered the ruins, and the three from the great Huang ancient country quickly followed behind. This is the spiritual herbal garden? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. There were actually some spiritual herbs growing in the ruins. Although they were very ordinary from the size of the area, it should have been a huge spiritual herbal garden in the past. Ji Shuiyao and the rest carefully inspected the ruins, but did not pick any of the spiritual herbs. Finally, they stopped in front of a large green rock. The three from the great Huang ancient country were hiding far away, and their auras were completely concealed. It was as if they had some kind of aura-concealing treasure on them. Ordinary people would not be able to discover them. Ji Shuiyao and the rest looked around vigilantly, then they surrounded the large green rock. A golden jade pendant appeared in Ji Shuiyao's hand, emitting a dazzling light. Buzz. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he saw Ji Shuiyao imprint the jade pendant on the large green rock. The large green rock rippled like water, and a fragrance spread out. Then Ji Shuiyao and the rest revealed an incomparably excited expression. They stepped into the ripples and disappeared in front of the large green rock. It's actually a mustard seed array? It seems like the treasure Ji Shuiyao is looking for should be in that large green rock. Ling Xiao was a little surprised. That large green rock was actually a camouflage. It used a mustard seed array to cover the void and hide the treasure. This method was very powerful, and it meant that there must be a great treasure inside. Ling Xiao did not act rashly. Since the people from the great Huang ancient country wanted to be the mantis, he didn't mind being the oriole. There's actually a mustard seed array in this spiritual herbal garden. It seems like there must be an unimaginable treasure inside. Quickly informed the seventh prince. The three from the great Huang ancient country revealed an incomparably excited expression. Ji Shuiyao opening the entrance of the large green rock gave the three of them a shock. If it wasn't for Ji Shuiyao, they wouldn't have been able to find the treasure no matter what. Not long after, Huang Yunji brought a few people over. The faint sense of danger in Ling Zhao's heart rose again. It seems that the Wan Shou sect's people are hiding among these people. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as he glanced at Huang Yunji and the other geniuses from the Grand Huang ancient country. In the end, Ling Zhao's gaze landed on an ordinary-looking young man behind Huang Yunji. The young man looked ordinary, and his cultivation was only at LV1 of the supreme power realm. It was easy for people to ignore his existence, but in Ling Zhao's eyes, this ordinary-looking young man in a black robe was the source of the danger in his heart. It's actually a powerhouse at the first level of the heaven tier. The Wan Shou sect really put in a lot of effort. A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. His spiritual energy was extremely powerful, and he could sense that the black-robed young man was exuding a faint celestial qi. After all, he was only at the first tier of the celestial realm. That kind of aura of being one with the heavens and the earth was not so easy to conceal. Ling Zhao could feel that the reason why the black-robed young man looked so simple was because his entire being seemed to have become one with the heavens and the earth, making it easy for people to overlook his existence. However, with the seal of the 8 Desolation Secret Land, the highest combat strength here is only at LV9 of the Supreme Power Realm. If you want to die, I don't mind fulfilling your wish. Ling Zhao thought to himself. The reason why Xia Long and the other 3 Celestial Realm powerhouses did not enter the 8 Desolation Secret Land was not only that the 4 of them were needed to maintain the entrance, but also that the seal of the 8 Desolation Secret Land was very strong. Even a noble realm powerhouse could only exert combat strength at LV9 of the Supreme Power Realm. Therefore, in the 8 Desolation Secret Land, there was nothing for Ling Zhao to be afraid of except for those unknown and terrifying existences. They have already entered. Seventh Prince, let's go in quickly. The 3 men from the Grand Huang ancient country hurriedly reported to Huang Yunji. Very well. Today, not only will the treasure be mine, but Ji Shuiyao will also be mine. The other women of the Grand Xian ancient country will be rewarded to you. Let's go. Huang Yunji's eyes revealed a hint of passion as he laughed heartily. Thank you, Seventh Prince. Everyone roared in agreement, and their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. The Grand Xian ancient country was backed by the Jade Lake sect, so the majority of the geniuses were women. The women of the Grand Xian ancient country had celestial skin and jade bones. Even the geniuses of the Grand Huang ancient country were no exception. In their eyes, as long as the 7th prince was here, whether it was the treasure or the people of the Grand Xian ancient country, everything was already in the bag. Huang Yunji and the others also entered the mustard seed array on the green rock. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he followed after a moment. Buzz. With a flash of light, Ling Zhao appeared in a valley. In front of him were green mountains and a few towering ancient trees. The valley was filled with exotic flowers and plants. There was also a small green lake that was as clear and calm as a mirror. After entering the array, Ling Zhao instantly turned into a ray of light and flew up an ancient tree without making any noise. Ji Shuiyao's group and Huang Yunji's group didn't notice Ling Zhao. They were facing each other hundreds of meters away from him with an unfriendly expression. Beside them, there was an ancient tree that was about 1 zhang tall. Its branches were knotted and its leaves were sparse. However, it emitted an emerald green radiance. There were more than 10 golden peaches hanging from its branches. They were like flames, flowing with gorgeous golden multicolored light. Moreover, there was an enticing aroma that lifted the spirits of those who smelled it. It's the immortality peach ancient tree? Ling Zhao's eyes widened, and a look of shock appeared on his face. He immediately recognized that this ancient tree was the legendary immortality peach ancient tree. It was a top spirit root comparable to a king medicine. The immortality peach ancient tree sprouted once every 300 years, bloomed once every 300 years, and bore fruit once every 300 years. The immortality peach ancient tree had a very mysterious effect. Not only could it help a cultivator to be reborn, but it could also increase one's aptitude and cultivation. More importantly, the immortality peach ancient tree could extend one's life by 300 years. One had to know that a grandmaster only had a lifespan of 200 years. Even if they broke through to the heaven realm, they wouldn't live past 500 years. If the cultivators who were nearing the end of their lifespan knew that one immortality peach ancient tree could increase one's lifespan by 300 years, they would definitely fight for it. I've never heard of the immortality peach ancient tree in the 8 great ancient countries. Could it be that they obtained it later? No wonder Ji Shuiyao is so anxious about the treasures here. If they knew about the existence of the immortality peach ancient tree, I'm afraid all the old guys in the martial Holy Lands would go crazy. Ling Xiao thought to himself as a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 251. The Immortality Peach Tree? I didn't expect the 8 Desolations secret territory to have such a treasure. It seems like this prince is truly blessed today. Ji Shuiyao, are you going to surrender or wait for me to make a move? Huang Yunji stared at the immortality peach tree in front of him. His eyes were filled with greed as he stared at Ji Shuiyao. The people from the Grand Yellow Ancient Kingdom surrounded Ji Shuiyao's group with an unfriendly expression. In terms of cultivation, the Grand Yellow Ancient Kingdom was 1 level higher than the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom. Outside of Huang Yunji, who was a 6th level Grandmaster, there was another 5th level Grandmaster and a 4th level Grandmaster. On the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom's side, Ji Shuiyao was at the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm, while the strongest was only at the 4th level. However, in terms of cultivation, the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom would definitely be at a disadvantage in a real battle. This was why Huang Yunji was so fearless. Ji Shuiyao stood in front of Huang Yunji with a veil covering her face and a snow-white robe. At this moment, there was a hint of coldness in her bright eyes. Huang Yunji, this immortality peach tree was found by my Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom. If you leave now, I will let bygones be bygones. Ji Shuiyao's voice was cold as she exuded an otherworldly aura like a goddess from the Moon Palace. No one dared to look at her directly. Huang Yunji greedily stared at Ji Shuiyao's body as if he wanted to strip her naked. He suppressed the evil fire in his heart and sneered, "Princess Shuiyao, the treasures in the 8 Desolations secret territory are all ownerless. If you want to obtain a treasure, you must rely on your strength." What a joke! What qualifications do you have to say that I will let bygones be bygones? Let me tell you, today not only will I have the immortality peach tree, but I will also have you. How dare you? The young men and women from the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom angrily glared at Huang Yunji. In their eyes, Ji Shuiyao was a supreme goddess from the 9 heavens. No one could profane her. Huang Yunji's words had touched their reverse scale. The people from the Grand Yellow Ancient Kingdom also snorted and took a step forward. Their powerful auras caused the people from the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom to lose their colors. Princess Shuiyao, have you thought it through? As long as you agree to be my woman, then from now on, our Grand Yellow Ancient Kingdom and the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom will be the strongest allies. Also, it is your fortune to be able to become the women of our geniuses. Huang Yunji had an arrogant look on his face as he swept his gaze across Ji Shuiyao and the other pretty girls. I've thought it through. Ji Shuiyao nodded her head, a strange look in her eyes. So, Shuiyao, you've agreed. Don't worry, I will definitely love you dearly. Huang Yunji's eyes lit up, and his heart burned with passion. I've thought it through. You deserve to die. Ji Shuiyao's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light. She shot forward like a beam of light, exuding an unparalleled sword intent. Her finger was like a sword, and a powerful sword light pierced towards Huang Yunji's forehead. This move was earth-shattering. The terrifying sword intent pressed down on Huang Yunji, causing his expression to change drastically. You're courting death. Huang Yunji's eyes became incomparably gloomy. His cultivation of the 6th level of the Grandmaster realm erupted as he sent a palm strike towards Ji Shuiyao. In his opinion, Although Ji Shuiyao was rumored to be extremely powerful, she was only at the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm. She was no match for him. Boom. The sword intent was pure and vast, as if it could encompass heaven and earth. It actually penetrated Huang Yunji's palm strike in an instant and shot towards his forehead like lightning. Mysterious heaven sword technique? Huang Yunji's expression changed drastically. He instantly saw through the mystery of the sword intent and became extremely embarrassed. He had to use all of his cultivation to barely dodge the sword light. However, a trace of blood was left behind between his eyebrows. Huang Yunji's expression instantly became extremely ugly. No wonder Princess Shuiyao's cultivation of the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm can suppress a Grandmaster realm expert. It turns out that she has cultivated the heaven-level low-grade mysterious heaven sword technique. However, you're not the only one who knows heaven-level martial arts. Huang Yunji said with a ferocious expression. There was a flash of light in his hand and an azure gold battle saber appeared, emitting a cold light. At the same time, a roaring lion seemed to appear behind him. Its aura was monstrous and oppressive. As Huang Yunji raised his battle saber, it pressed down from the sky. Mad Lion Rage Saber. Huang Yunji's body exuded an overbearing aura as he slashed his saber toward Ji Shuiyao. The Mad Lion Rage Saber was a peerless martial art of the great Huang ancient country. It was a heaven-level low-grade saber. When used, it was like an ancient lion destroying the world. However, Ling Xiao, who was hiding at the side, shook his head. He could see that this Mad Lion Rage Saber required an indomitable aura and a domineering aura. Although Huang Yunji seemed to be very powerful when using it, Ling Xiao was able to see the flaws in the saber technique with a single glance. Huang Yunji's domineering aura was arrogant and despotic. He had not truly comprehended the true meaning of the Mad Lion Rage Saber. In comparison, Ji Shuiyao surprised Ling Xiao because she had cultivated the mysterious heaven sword art to the small completion stage. Moreover, there was a very powerful bloodline power in Ji Shuiyao's body that made Ling Xiao feel threatened. Ji Shuiyao's bloodline was very mysterious. Mad Lion Rage Saber? Ji Shuiyao's eyes flashed. She leaped into the air like a goddess. Her figure was ethereal, and an ancient blue sword appeared in her hand as well. It emitted a dazzling light. Sword chi swept across the void, and a mighty sword will exploded. Slash! Ji Shuiyao spat. In an instant, a dazzling sword light slashed down toward Huang Yunji, forming a huge blue sword light in the void. Boom! When the saber and sword collided, it was as if thunder had exploded in the void. Endless light shot out in all directions, and the lion in the void exploded. Ji Shuiyao and Huang Yunji's bodies trembled and they were both sent flying. Ji Shuiyao was like a fairy as she spun in the void before landing gracefully on the ground. Huang Yunji, on the other hand, was in a sorry state. He flew back dozens of feet and almost fell on his butt. This woman's battle strength is too abnormal. Huang Yunji secretly thought as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Everyone, kill all the men and capture the women. Huang Yunji's voice was incomparably cold. Yes. The people from the great yellow ancient country trembled and erupted with all their cultivation as they charged toward the geniuses from the great mysterious ancient country. Form the battle formation of 4 symbols and slaughter everyone from the great yellow ancient country. Ji Shuiyao's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent as she coldly ordered. The 8 geniuses from the great mysterious ancient country also responded. They formed groups of 4 and formed the battle formation of 4 symbols as they charged forward. Chapter 252. The battle broke out in an instant. Although the people from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom were weaker, the battle formation of 4 symbols was quite strange. The 4 of them occupied the east, west, north, and south positions. Their auras were connected to each other, forming a grand momentum of heaven and earth that doubled their battle strength. With the battle formation of 4 symbols, each of them could erupt with 4 times their normal strength. Even when facing the geniuses of grand yellow ancient country whose cultivation was higher than theirs, they were still able to fight with greater ferocity. There were faint signs of them suppressing their opponents. What? Huang Yunji's expression changed and his eyes became gloomy. He didn't expect the people from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom to be so difficult to deal with. He originally thought it would be easy to deal with them, but he didn't expect his side to be at a disadvantage. The moment Huang Yunji was distracted, a sharp sword energy slashed across his cheek and left a bloody mark. Ji Shuiyao held the blue ancient sword and used the mysterious heaven sword art. Her clothes fluttered as she soared into the air like a peerless sword goddess and charged toward Huang Yunji. Ji Shuiyao. When I catch you, I'll let you taste a fate worse than death. Huang Yunji flew into a rage. His face was ferocious. Holding the azurite saber in his hand, he rushed over with a violent aura. Clang. Huang Yunji used the wild lion blade. The blade energy was incomparably sharp and slashed through the air. However, it was blocked by the blue ancient sword in Ji Shuiyao's hand and erupted with a bright divine light. Huang Yunji, on the other hand, felt a strong force coming from the ancient blue sword. His arm went numb, and the green gold saber in his hand almost flew out of his hand. Wild lion roar. Huang Yunji roared. The azurite saber in his hand rotated rapidly, emitting a strange sound wave. It was as fast as lightning. The sound of the saber was like the roar of a mad lion, almost making people's mind collapse. Ji Shuiyao's body also trembled as if she was affected by the strange sound wave. She paused in the air for a moment. Kill! Huang Yunji's eyes lit up, and his azure gold battle saber slashed down without hesitation. The violent saber light instantly split Ji Shuiyao in half. An afterimage? There wasn't the scene of blood splattering. Instead, an afterimage disappeared before Huang Yunji's eyes. Huang Yunji's expression changed as he felt a fatal danger coming from behind him. He didn't even think about it and used the blade to block behind him. Boom! An unparalleled sword light pierced towards Huang Yunji. It carried an unparalleled penetrating power and directly collided with the azure golden saber. The violent sword chi erupted and instantly left a bloody mark on Huang Yunji's back. At the same time, the power of the ancient sword pierced through Huang Yunji's protective vigor and slammed into his body. His face reddened as he suddenly vomited blood. Good, very good. Princess Shuiyao, I've underestimated you. But it ends here. Prepare to die. Huang Yunji's eyes were filled with shock and anger. He could not imagine how Ji Shuiyao, who was only in the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm, could injure him. If Ji Shuiyao had broken through to the Grandmaster realm, how terrifying would she be? Huang Yunji's heart instantly surged with a blazing killing intent. Boom! The blood chi in his body began to boil. Huang Yunji's aura rose as an endless baleful aura filled the air. The figure of a scarlet lion appeared behind him. Its eyes were blood red. Huang Yunji's strength began to skyrocket. Berserk Lion Demon Spirit? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. The Grand Huang ancient country was a vassal state of the Myriad Beasts sect. Who would have thought that the Myriad Beasts sect would learn such a method? After the death of a powerful demon beast, the Myriad Beasts sect would use a secret method to extract the demon spirit and integrate it into the cultivator's body. As the cultivator's cultivation increased, the cultivator would become stronger. Furthermore, after integrating with the demon spirit, the cultivator would be able to unleash a strength that was several times stronger than before. During the battle between Ling Xiao and Shi Tianluo, if Shi Tianluo hadn't integrated with the heavenly snake demon spirit, he would have lost even faster. Although this berserk lion demon spirit wasn't comparable to Shi Tianluo's heavenly snake demon spirit, it was still very powerful. It actually increased Huang Yunji's strength by several times. Boom! Huang Yunji's black hair was scattered as his body was enveloped in a violent aura. The blade in his hand shone brightly as he slashed towards Ji Shuiyao. Ji Shuiyao's eyes also revealed a trace of seriousness. She felt a strong sense of threat from Huang Yunji's body. Ji Shuiyao didn't take Huang Yunji's blade head-on. Instead, she leaped and dodged. Boom! Where Ji Shuiyao was standing, a towering ancient tree instantly turned into dust. The earth trembled violently as the aura was frightening. Let's see where you can hide. Huang Yunji sneered as he soared through the air. He raised his blade and slashed downwards. Violent blade aura swept towards Ji Shuiyao. Bush, 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 bush. Ji Shuiyao's clothes fluttered as she executed the astral steps. Her figure was elegant and graceful as she left behind afterimages in the air, constantly dodging Huang Yunji's attacks. Boom! After Huang Yunji's blade slashed down, Ji Shuiyao's sword soared through the air. The sword light was incomparably sharp as it slashed towards Huang Yunji from the side. However, in the next moment, Ji Shuiyao's expression changed. The berserk lion aura around Huang Yunji was extremely powerful. It was as if it had formed an aura domain, causing her sword light to instantly slow down. Kill! Huang Yunji's eyes revealed a trace of arrogance as he swung his blade. The blade light was as resplendent as the Milky Way, causing the heavens and earth to lose their color. Clang! Sparks flew in all directions as Ji Shuiyao had no choice but to take the attack head-on. She was instantly sent flying dozens of feet away as her face turned pale. Ha! Princess Shuiyao, be my woman obediently. Otherwise, you'll definitely die today. Huang Yunji laughed arrogantly. After merging with the berserk lion aura, his combat strength had reached its peak. Facing Ji Shuiyao at this moment, he had a mocking attitude. Dream on! Ji Shuiyao's cold voice resounded. The ancient sword in her hand began to vibrate as a mysterious aura rose up. It was as if a Milky Way had appeared behind Ji Shuiyao. At the same time, Ling Zhao's gaze shook. He could feel a mysterious bloodline power slowly awakening within Ji Shuiyao's body, emitting terrifying fluctuations. This kind of power isn't something that can be formed by bloodline power. Who exactly is she? Ling Zhao's heart trembled. This kind of power gave Ling Zhao the feeling that a terrifying life form had suddenly awakened within Ji Shuiyao's body. The power was so strong that even he could feel it. Could it be that Ji Shuiyao was the reincarnation of an expert? Ling Zhao thought of a possibility. Rumble. Chapter 253. Berserk Lion's Wrath. Feeling this terrifying sword essence, Huang Yunji's expression changed drastically, and he felt his scalp go numb. He slashed out with all his might. At the same time, the berserk lion's wrath surged, forming a powerful true Kong defense. Boom! In an instant, heaven and earth fell silent and fell into a world of white. The Milky Way sword ray drowned Huang Yunji. The terrifying sword chi slashed on the berserk lion's wrath, destroying all the saber rays in the sky. A blood-curdling scream rang out as Huang Yunji's body was sent flying out from the heavenly river sword light. His entire body was dyed red with blood, and one of his arms had turned into dust. He coughed up blood incessantly, and his face was pale as a sheet. He was on his last breath. Ji Shuiyao's face was also pale. It was obvious that this move had taken a toll on her. Her body swayed and she almost fell. Many of the geniuses from the great Huang ancient country were stunned. How could Ji Shuiyao have such terrifying combat strength? A stage 9 Dragon Tiger realm martial artist had seriously injured Huang Yunji. This kind of combat strength was earth-shattering. It was too demonic. Swoosh! A black-robed young man left the battlefield and caught Huang Yunji. He took out a healing pill and fed it to him. Finally, you can't help but make a move? Ling Zhao's gaze fell on the black-robed young man, revealing a trace of coldness. This black-robed young man was the danger that Ling Zhao had sensed. A Stage 1 Celestial Realm expert had disguised himself as a Stage 1 Grandmaster to sneak into the 8 Desolate Secret Region. He had an extremely mysterious aura concealing treasure on him that had fooled the 4 Celestial Realm experts and almost fooled Ling Zhao. Now that Huang Yunji was seriously injured, he could no longer hide. For you, Ji Shuiyao's gaze fell on the black-robed young man, revealing a trace of vigilance. She had not noticed before, but now that the black-robed young man had suddenly jumped out, the hidden aura was also released, making Ji Shuiyao feel a fatal threat. Uncle's son, catch her. I want her to suffer all kinds of torture, so much so that she can neither live nor die. Huang Yunji's face was contorted as he looked at Ji Shuiyao with eyes full of hatred. The anger in his heart could not be washed away even with all the water of the 3 rivers. He looked too miserable. His clothes were in tatters and his body was covered with crisscrossing scars. Especially his left arm, which had completely disappeared. If Huang Yunji could not find the supreme elixir to regrow his severed limbs, it would mean that he would never be able to break through to the celestial being realm. Your Highness, rest well and leave the rest to me, the black-robed young man said indifferently. Then, he signaled the people of the great Huang ancient country to come over and take care of Huang Yunji, while he walked towards Ji Shuiyao and the others. Boom! An incomparably powerful aura rose from the black-robed youth's body, and his cultivation began to skyrocket at a speed visible to the naked eye. First level of the Grandmaster Realm, second level of the Grandmaster Realm, third level of the Grandmaster Realm. It was only until he reached Zhongshe Realm 9 Dan that his cultivation gradually calmed down. It was as if there was some kind of mysterious force restricting his cultivation. The black-robed youth's expression was indifferent and his eyes were cold. His body emitted a violent aura that pressured Ji Shuiyao's group. The people from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom were startled. Celestial being realm expert? You are soul-chasing Spear Sun Feng. Ji Shuiyao's body trembled, and her eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. There were very few celestial being realm experts in the 4 ancient countries. Now that the black-robed youth no longer hid his identity, Ji Shuiyao instantly recognized him. Soul-chasing Spear Sun Feng's cultivation was at the first level of the celestial being realm. Although the 36 Styles soul-chasing spear technique was only an earth-level peerless martial skill, it had reached perfection in his hands. Sun Feng was the grand commander of the great Huang ancient country's royal army, so Ji Shuiyao easily recognized him. You know me? Sun Feng's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. Ji Shuiyao said coldly, I didn't expect the great Huang ancient country to be so unruly and send you in. Don't you know that celestial being realm experts are not allowed to enter the 8 desolate secret region? Of course I know, but I didn't enter the 8 desolate secret region for you guys. Sun Feng smiled faintly and said, originally, I didn't want to reveal my identity, but I didn't expect a little girl like you to be so powerful. Since that's the case, I can only kill all of you to not affect my grand plan. Sun Feng said casually, but the bone-chilling coldness in his voice greatly changed the expressions of everyone from the great Xian ancient country. Soul-chasing Spear Sun Feng was a very dazzling name. He was the leader of the younger generation of the great Huang ancient country 30 years ago. As a commoner, he defeated many geniuses and reached the top in one fell swoop. Legend has it that this person's willpower was firm, and his actions were ruthless. Since he commanded the royal army, countless people had died in his hands. Facing such a person, even Ji Shuiyao couldn't help but change her expression. Sun Feng, if you dare to attack us, you better think about the consequences. Ji Shuiyao's voice became incomparably cold. Consequences? Little girl, you don't need to worry about this. His Highness said that he wants you to be his woman, so you better obediently come here. Sun Feng's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he soared through the air towards Ji Shuiyao. He grabbed at the void, exuding a vast and unparalleled aura. When he attacked, there was an earth-shattering momentum. Although he could only explode with the battle strength of a 9th-level Grandmaster, Sun Feng was still a Heaven Realm expert. His cultivation was unparalleled, far from what Ji Shuiyao could contend with. After all, the difference between the two was too great. Boom! Ji Shuiyao's expression changed. The ancient blue sword in her hand trembled, and rays of sharp light flickered as it slashed towards Sun Feng's wrist as fast as lightning. Clang! Sun Feng's 5 fingers were like the claws of an eagle, surrounded by a layer of black baleful aura. He directly grabbed the ancient blue sword, and a strange force emitted from it. Sparks flew in all directions as the ancient sword trembled. Ji Shuiyao felt her arm go numb, and the ancient sword in her hand almost flew out of her hand. Boom! Sun Feng's speed was extremely fast. After his attack succeeded, he circled behind Ji Shuiyao at a strange angle and slapped out with his palm. Clang! A bright light flashed, and the ancient blue sword trembled non-stop. This time, Ji Shuiyao could no longer hold the ancient sword in her hand, and it instantly flew out of her hand. She was also hit by Sun Feng's palm, and her entire body flew back dozens of feet. An abnormal flush appeared on her face. After all, she had just fought with Huang Yunji. Although Ji Shuiyao had won, she had paid a certain price. Moreover, Sun Feng was barehanded, and the legendary soul-chasing spear did not appear. Chapter 254. Sun Feng, do you really want to kill all of us? Ji Shuiyao's voice was cold and contained a suppressed anger. The people from the great mysterious ancient kingdom were extremely pale. Even Ji Shuiyao had been defeated. Who could save them? Could it be that the people from the great mysterious ancient kingdom were going to die here? Don't worry, you won't die. His Highness will take good care of you. Princess Shuiyao, just obediently surrender. Sun Feng stood with his hands behind his back with an indifferent expression. His powerful aura locked onto Ji Shuiyao. Ji Shuiyao, you slut, I will definitely take good care of you. Huang Yunji's eyes were full of lust and desire as if he wanted to strip off all of Ji Shuiyao's clothes. Ji Shuiyao's face instantly paled. Her eyes revealed a trace of determination as she said, if you want to fight, then let's fight. Even if I die, I won't let you get away with it. You want to die? That depends on whether you can die or not. Since Princess Shuiyao doesn't know how to appreciate favors, then don't blame me for being impolite. Sun Feng sneered and stepped forward in the air. His body emitted a cold and domineering aura that suppressed Ji Shuiyao. Each step seemed to cause the void to tremble. Ji Shuiyao and the people from the great mysterious ancient kingdom couldn't help but reveal a trace of despair on their faces. A dignified Heaven Realm expert actually dares to make a move against a Dragon Tiger Realm girl. Do you still have any shame? A lazy, casual and clear voice resounded, causing everyone's expression to change as they looked towards the source of the voice. This was especially true for Ji Shuiyao and the people from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom. In the distant forest, a slender youth wearing snow-white clothes walked over. He looked to be around 15 or 16 years old and was very handsome. At this moment, he had a grass vine hanging from the corner of his mouth. His smile was bright and he looked casual and carefree. Ling Xiao. Seeing this youth, Ji Shuiyao was the first to be stunned with a trace of astonishment in her eyes. Why is this guy here? He is only at the 4th level of the Dragon Tiger Realm. Okay, he is already at the 5th level of the Dragon Tiger Realm, but he is still at the bottom of the group. This brat really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. What can he do here? Ji Shuiyao's eyes revealed a trace of worry. Ling Xiao, why are you alone? Could it be that the Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom also wants to overestimate their own capabilities and reap the benefits of others? A cold light flashed in Huang Yunji's eyes. He looked behind Ling Xiao and saw that he was alone. No one else from the Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom had appeared. When Sun Feng heard Ling Xiao's name, his eyes narrowed and he gave Ling Xiao a deep look. Don't worry, it's just me. I just can't bear to see you bully the weak and bully women. Why don't you give me some face and let Princess Shuiyao and the others go? Ling Xiao smiled casually as he walked over step by step. His eyes were calm, without the slightest hint of fear. Give you face? Who do you think you are? Zhang Qian, since this brat doesn't know what's good for him, kill him. Huang Yunji's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent as he coldly shouted. Suddenly, a young man with a sinister face jumped out from the great Huang ancient country. His eyes were like a poisonous snake. Although he was only at level 1 of the Grandmaster realm, the cold air he emitted made people shudder. Brat, you'll die if you meddle in other people's business. Since you're courting death, don't blame me for it. Zhang Qian sneered and threw a palm strike at Ling Xiao. Boom! Black innate chi surged and emitted a cold aura. A huge palm print came down from the sky, containing a strong murderous aura. In the face of this attack, Ling Xiao's expression remained unchanged. He was still calm as he walked over step by step. His body was shrouded in a layer of faint golden light, which made him look mysterious and majestic. There was a trace of mysterious chi flowing around him. Ji Shuiyao's eyes revealed a trace of anxiety as she hurriedly shouted. Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at level 5 of the Dragon Tiger realm. How could he be a match for Zhang Qian? Ji Shuiyao was grateful that this silly brat stood up for her. However, she would feel uneasy if Ling Xiao died because of this. Moreover, before she came to the 8 Desolation secret area, her sister had told her to take care of Ling Xiao if she met him. In a flash, Sun Feng stood in front of Ji Shuiyao and said indifferently, "Princess Shuiyao, you can't even protect yourself. You should take care of yourself first." At the same time, Zhang Qian's palm strike had already landed on Ling Xiao's body. An extremely cold palm strike enveloped Ling Xiao. Boom! Ling Xiao did not even look at Zhang Qian. He did not even stop for a moment as he continued to walk forward calmly. When Zhang Qian's palm strike landed on Ling Xiao's body, it landed on the golden light and was unable to move forward. Then, an unparalleled divine force suddenly came back, accompanied by an earth-shattering dragon roar. It completely exploded. Zhang Qian issued a blood-curdling scream when the terrifying power erupted. His entire body was sent flying backwards at an even faster speed. His arms had exploded into a bloody mist in an instant. He was coughing up blood as he heavily smashed into the ground in the distance. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. After Ling Xiao had cultivated the Earth Dragon body, how terrifying was his physical strength. Even an elite of the Heaven Realm would be blasted apart by Ling Xiao if they fought with just their physical strength. Ling Xiao had still shown mercy. Otherwise, Zhang Qian would not have just lost his arms. His entire body would have been blasted into a fine powder. Seeing the scene in front of them, everyone was dumbfounded. Ling Xiao, who was at the 5th level of the Dragon Tiger realm, did not even make a move. Just the force of his physical body was enough to cripple the arms of a grandmaster. How abnormal was that? Everyone could not believe their eyes. They felt as if they were in a dream. Ji Shuiyao also widened her eyes in shock. Even she would not be able to injure Zhang Qian so severely without making a move. No wonder Ling Xiao dared to come alone. It turned out that he was very confident. Ji Shuiyao recalled that when they entered the Ba Huang secret area, she said that she would protect Ling Xiao. Now that she thought about it, it was a joke. Ling Xiao's true strength was stronger than hers. Only Sun Feng's eyes flashed. Although he had already expected Ling Xiao to be strong, such terrifying physical strength was still beyond his imagination. Who exactly are you? Huang Yunji's face revealed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. His voice unconsciously trembled. Chapter 255. Sun Feng, the soul-chasing spear? You're here for me, right? If that's the case, make your move. Ling Xiao ignored Huang Yunji and looked at Sun Feng calmly. His eyes were filled with a strong desire to battle. After cultivating the Earth Dragon body, Ling Xiao's physical body had reached a terrifying level. Hence, he wanted to see how big the gap was between him and a Celestial Realm elite. Sun Feng was the best touchstone for this. You're really smart. Sun Feng looked deeply at Ling Xiao. You're worthy of being able to defeat Shi Tianluo with your cultivation at the 3rd level of the Dragon Tiger realm. You should be proud that the Wanshou sect is so afraid of you that they're willing to pay the price to have me kill you. Sun Feng's words were like a bolt of lightning that shocked Ji Shuiyao and Huang Yunji. What? Ling Xiao defeated Shi Tianluo? Who is Shi Tianluo? He was one of the 7 disciples of the Wanshou sect, a peerless genius of the 8 Desolates region. Although he wasn't considered a top genius, he was still extremely terrifying. At the very least, Shi Tianluo could defeat all the young geniuses of the 4 great ancient nations. However, Sun Feng said that Shi Tianluo was defeated by Ling Xiao. Defeating Shi Tianluo, who was at the 6th level of the Grandmaster realm, at the 3rd level of the Dragon Tiger realm. This kind of terrifying talent made Ji Shuiyao pale in comparison. Ling Xiao defeating Shi Tianluo should have been a big event that would shock the entire 8 Desolates region. However, because it was only a short time ago and the 4 great ancient nations were very far away, Ji Shuiyao and Huang Yunji didn't know about it. Especially Huang Yunji. He originally thought that Sun Feng had come to the 8 Desolates' secret land to protect him. However, he now knew that Sun Feng's real purpose was to kill Ling Xiao. Kill me? You're not qualified. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a bright light flashed in his eyes. Even when facing a celestial realm elite, Ling Xiao didn't show the slightest fear. Instead, a strong desire to battle rose in his heart. He was a supreme being in his previous life and was destined to rule the world in this life. What was a mere celestial realm elite to him? Arrogant. Sun Feng's eyes darkened as a powerful aura emanated from his body and suppressed Ling Xiao. Boom. Although he was unable to unleash the battle prowess of the celestial tier, Sun Feng had long since become one with the world and Zhou Tian as one. He was able to mobilize the power of heaven and earth with his human strength. Suddenly, the void trembled, and a cold and sharp qi locked onto Ling Xiao. It was as vast as the sea, and it wanted to force him to kneel. The reason why a celestial being realm expert could crush a master realm expert was not only because they could mobilize the power of heaven and earth, but also because they had comprehended the momentum of martial arts. With the momentum of the momentum, they were always successful. The force of heaven and earth on Sun Feng's body caused Ji Xueyao, Huang Yunji, and the others' expressions to change as they retreated. Waves of air billowed and formless qi intertwined. Vast amounts of heaven and earth power gathered and pressed down on Ling Xiao. Scram! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he shouted. Instantly, a violent aura was awakened from Ling Xiao's body. It was domineering, ancient, majestic, and mysterious. Ling Xiao's gaze was as indifferent as steel. He was like a supreme being who looked down on the world, emitting a power that could make the heavens and earth tremble. Rumble! Formless auras collided, causing waves of energy to surge in the air. The earth trembled, and countless plants and rocks were turned into dust. The scene was astonishing. At the same time, a dragon's roar shook the clouds. Ling Xiao was bathed in golden light as his qi and blood surged. It was as if a blazing sun had formed behind his head. His black hair fluttered and his eyes were bright. His body seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth as he took a step forward. Bang! As if a heavenly drum had been struck, the earth trembled. The intertwined qi in front of Ling Xiao instantly became chaotic. Sun Feng's expression changed as he felt his qi and blood surging. How can this kid have such a terrifying aura? Sun Feng's eyes revealed a trace of shock, and his expression became very ugly. Martial artists cultivated the power of heaven and earth. When martial arts were cultivated to the extreme, they could form their own martial concept. When the martial concept was perfected, one could touch the power of heaven and earth, mobilize the momentum of heaven and earth, and comprehend the profound meaning of martial arts. The momentum here was the momentum of heaven and earth, the momentum of martial arts. Sun Feng originally wanted to use the momentum of heaven and earth to oppress Ling Xiao and make him kneel down. He wanted to win without a fight. After all, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the Dragon Tiger realm. Although his battle prowess was strong, he was still far from a celestial realm powerhouse. However, he did not expect that not only was Ling Xiao not affected by Sun Feng's momentum of heaven and earth, but he also emitted an aura that shocked Sun Feng. Sun Feng faintly felt that he was not facing a young man, but a supreme master who could sweep through the world. He could not help but tremble in his heart. Bang! Ling Xiao took another step forward. His foot seemed to land on the node of the momentum of heaven and earth, causing Ling Xiao's aura to rise a little more. Bang! 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 Ling Xiao walked towards Sun Feng step by step. Every step he took made his aura stronger. It was as if the momentum of heaven and earth had gathered around Ling Xiao. It was as if the waves of the heavenly river were rolling in reverse, suppressing Sun Feng instead. Boom! Ling Xiao took 9 steps in a row. When the last step landed, the void instantly shook violently. Thunder boomed, and the vast power of heaven and earth condensed behind Ling Xiao, turning into a golden dragon-shaped wave of qi. With a roar, it suddenly pressed down on Sun Feng. Sun Feng's expression changed, revealing an abnormal flush. He instantly retreated more than 10 steps. With a palm across the sky, a palm print exploded, and only then did he manage to disperse the dragon-shaped air wave. Celestial realm powerhouse, that's all there is to it. Ling Zhao's gaze was sharp as he said indifferently, Sun Feng's gaze instantly turned gloomy. At the same time, a huge wave was set off in his heart. He was incomparably shocked. The clash of momentum between the two actually ended with him losing miserably. Ling Xiao only took 9 steps, and he was forced to make a move to disperse it. Therefore, he had completely lost. Ji Shuiyao and Huang Yunji were also stunned. Although they could not see the mystery of the clash of momentum, they could see that Sun Feng had lost in this formless clash. However, Sun Feng was an expert of the heaven realm. How could he lose to Ling Xiao? This simply overturned everyone's understanding, especially Ji Shuiyao. The corner of her mouth revealed a trace of a bitter smile, but her expression also became much more relaxed. The stronger Ling Xiao's battle prowess was, the greater the chance of the grand mysterious ancient kingdom's people escaping alive. Ji Shuiyao became more and more curious. What was the relationship between this youth and her sister? Sharp tongue. I want to see if your strength is as good as your mouth. Sun Feng's gaze was cold, revealing a trace of burning killing intent. The more monstrous Ling Xiao was, the more intense his killing intent was. He must kill Ling Xiao. Otherwise, when Ling Xiao matured, it would be an unimaginable disaster. Boom! Sun Feng's body emitted a powerful cultivation fluctuation. With a flash of light in his hand, a black war spear appeared, emitting a deep light and unparalleled sharpness. Soul-chasing spear. If you want to fight, then let's fight. What's with all the nonsense? Ling Xiao's eyes also revealed a trace of powerful battle intent. The blood in his body boiled as he urgently wanted to fight Sun Feng. Roar. Chapter 256. Rumble. The earth rumbled and the forest howled. Many towering ancient trees collapsed and turned into dust. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping. Ling Xiao, Sun Feng, and the rest were shocked and turned to look in that direction. A terrifying evil aura filled the air. Many giant black apes rushed out from the forest. Each of them had shiny black fur and a monstrous demonic aura. They were about 10 feet tall and their arms were so long that they almost touched the ground. The galloping and howling earlier were caused by this group of giant apes. As far as the eye could see, there were more than 100 giant apes. Their eyes were blood-red and filled with murderous intent as they stared fixedly at Ling Xiao and the others. This was especially true for the giant ape in the lead. It was over 100 feet tall and looked like a small mountain. It held a large iron staff in its hand, and its entire body emitted a monstrous baleful aura. It bared its teeth and let out a loud roar. Long-armed giant apes? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he immediately revealed a trace of seriousness. The group of long-armed giant apes in front of them were the same as the chaotic world demonic apes that Ling Xiao encountered in the ferocious Beast Mountain range. They were all primordial apes, especially the leader, the long-armed ape king. Judging from the aura on its body, it had actually reached the peak of the 6th rank. The rest of the long-armed giant apes were at least 4th-rank demonic beasts. Most of them were 5th-rank demonic beasts. They stood there beating their chests and their eyes were filled with cold and bloodthirsty murderous intent. Oh no! Sun Feng's expression changed as he felt a strong threat. He retreated without thinking. He was the closest to the group of long-armed giant apes. Especially the long-armed ape king's terrifying aura made his scalp tingle. His eyes were filled with fear. He was no match for a 6th-rank demonic beast. Moreover, the long-armed giant apes were primordial apes. Boom! However, it was too late. The giant iron rod emitted a cold luster like a heavenly pillar. The long-armed ape king lifted it up and smashed it towards Sun Feng. After all, the long-armed ape king sensed that Sun Feng's cultivation was the highest and he was the most threatening one. Therefore, it attacked instantly. Damn it! Sun Feng's expression was extremely ugly. The staff covered an area with a radius of several hundred feet. Demonic chi was rolling, and the divine power was unparalleled. It was as fast as lightning. He had no chance to dodge at all. He could only try his best to perform the soul-chasing spear technique in his hand. The soul-chasing ancient spear rose into the air and blocked the big iron staff. Rumble! As the monstrous divine power descended, The earth shook violently. The surrounding rocks were instantly reduced to dust. The soul-chasing spear in Sun Feng's hand suddenly bent. His face instantly revealed an abnormal flush. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and was instantly sent flying dozens of meters away. His arm was almost numb. Seeing that the long-armed ape king had made his move, the rest of the great armed apes roared and pounded their chests. They bared their fangs and charged towards Ling Xiao and the rest with wooden sticks, boulders, and even bare fists. Although the giant long-armed ape had a huge body, it was extremely agile. Its speed was extremely fast and it walked like the wind. That monstrous baleful aura caused many people's faces to instantly turn incomparably pale. Not good. These beasts are too strong, quickly retreat. Ji Shuiyao's expression greatly changed. She quickly brought the geniuses of the grand mysterious ancient kingdom and rushed towards the exit of the mustard seed formation. One of the great armed apes that rushed at the front instantly arrived in front of a youth from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom. This youth was scared silly. His eyes were full of fear and he couldn't even run. The great armed ape's eyes revealed a hint of cruelty. Its huge palm leaf fan-like hand instantly grabbed the youth's throat. Then, it opened its bloody mouth and directly bit the youth into 2 pieces. It was an extremely bloody scene. Senior brother Zhao? A girl from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom turned pale with fright and loudly shouted. However, her shout also alarmed a few giant full-armed apes. They rushed toward her at an extremely fast speed, causing her complexion to change greatly. There was no trace of blood in her face, and despair appeared in her eyes. Ling Xiao sighed. These geniuses of the grand mysterious ancient kingdom only had cultivation, but their willpower was too weak. In the face of these great armed apes, their minds were taken away and they were easily buried in their demon stomachs. If that youth from earlier had the courage to fight, even if he wasn't a match, it wouldn't have been difficult for him to escape. Boom! Ling Xiao's body was like a golden lightning bolt. He instantly appeared in front of that girl and punched out with a blazing golden light. He suddenly pushed back the nearest great armed ape. "You guys run, I'll cover you." Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a cold glint. After leaving behind these words, he rushed towards the 2 great armed apes. Rumble! Ling Xiao's physical strength was extremely powerful. Even though these great armed apes were archaic variants, they were simply not Ling Xiao's match. After a few punches, they were blown away. At the same time, this also aroused the ferocity of the great armed apes. More and more of them rushed towards Ling Xiao. The girls from the grand mysterious ancient kingdom looked at Ling Xiao with gratitude. Then, they quickly regrouped with Ji Shuiyao and escaped towards the exit of the array. On the other side, the grand yellow ancient kingdom was even more miserable. Although Sun Feng temporarily blocked the great armed ape king, there were still 3 geniuses who couldn't dodge in time. They were torn into pieces by a few great armed apes. The scene was extremely bloody and caused people's scalps to tingle. Huang Yunji was already pale with fright. Under the protection of the 2 youths, he also retreated towards the exit of the array. Boom! Boom! Sun Feng held the soul-chasing spear in his hand as he engaged in a fierce battle with the great armed ape king. Terrifying shockwaves swept out in all directions. Everywhere they went, rocks were turned into dust. Ancient trees collapsed one after another. The great armed ape king was too terrifying. Although there weren't many techniques in the battle between him and Sun Feng, one person could defeat 10 people with brute force. Sun Feng could only dodge in a sorry state. The soul-chasing spear in his hand didn't pose much of a threat to the great armed ape king. The soul-chasing spear left bloody scars on the great armed ape king's body. On the contrary, it aroused the great armed ape king's ferocity. It attacked Sun Feng even more violently. "Hurry up and run. I can't hold on for much longer." Sun Feng roared at the Grand Yellow Ancient Kingdoms group. These great armed apes were too ferocious. Moreover, they didn't fear death. Their battle prowess was extremely strong. This caused the geniuses from the 2 ancient kingdoms to lose all their will to fight. Ling Xiao brought up the rear and blocked many great armed apes for Ji Shuiyao and the rest of the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom. In the end, only the unlucky youth from the Grand Mysterious Ancient Kingdom died. The others successfully made it to the exit of the array. Boom! Chapter 257. Ling Xiao's battle instantly attracted the attention of the two long-armed giant apes that were 30 feet tall. The aura of the two giant long-armed apes had reached the peak of rank 5, just a hair's breadth away from rank 6. Their addition instantly put a lot of pressure on Ling Xiao. Rumble! The two giant long-armed apes charged towards Ling Xiao at the same time. Their eyes were bloodshot, and the thick steel cudgel in their hands emitted a chilling radiance. They were wrapped in a majestic demonic aura as they charged towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. His aura was like a dragon, and he did not dodge. Instead, he punched out with both his fists, using his physical body to resist the thick steel cudgel. Bang! With a loud bang, Ling Xiao and the two giant long-armed apes trembled and retreated at the same time. On the other side, the long-armed ape king's aura was like a rainbow. With a swing of his cudgel, Sun Feng was sent flying a few hundred feet away, spurting out blood. The long-armed ape king's cold gaze fell on Sun Feng. His battle-intent soared, and the demonic aura around him became even more terrifying. He swung his cudgel at Sun Feng. Sun Feng's face was pale, and his aura was weak. At this moment, he no longer dared to tangle with the long-armed ape king. In an instant, he turned into a black shadow and dashed towards the exit of the mustard seed array. Rumble! However, the terrifying demonic aura of the cudgel followed him like a shadow. It emitted a ghostly howl, and the airwaves were torrential. Its power was unparalleled. Sun Feng's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. He grabbed the last young man from the great Huang ancient country and threw him behind him. No. The young man's face was filled with fear. He let out a miserable cry and was instantly smashed into a bloody mist by the long-armed ape king's cudgel. Taking advantage of the moment when the long-armed ape king was stunned, Sun Feng's figure dashed out of the valley. At this moment, Ling Xiao did not continue to tangle with the giant long-armed apes. He turned into a streak of golden lightning and dashed towards the mustard seed array. All the giant long-armed apes were enraged. Their cold gazes fell on Ling Xiao, and they chased after him together with the long-armed ape king. It was as though they wanted to vent all their anger on Ling Xiao. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. His roar shook the heavens and the earth shook. Ling Xiao sensed a fatal danger and his gaze turned grave. With his current combat strength, it was impossible for him to defeat the long-armed ape king. Ling Xiao's heart was filled with questions. The seal of the Ba Huang secret territory was too strange. Why wasn't the cultivation of the creatures in the secret territory restricted? Take the long-armed ape king as an example. The strength of a peak rank 6 demonic beast was not diminished at all. Ling Xiao, come out. The exit of the mustard seed array was right in front of him. Ling Xiao could already see Ji Shuiyao's anxious face as she urged him to come out quickly. However, at this moment, Sun Feng's ferocious expression appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback as a bad premonition arose in his heart. Ling Xiao, go to hell. The killing intent in Sun Feng's eyes was incomparably intense. He slammed his palm towards the large green rock outside the exit. That large green rock was the hub of the mustard seed array formation. No, Ji Shuiyao cried out in surprise, but stopped abruptly in an instant. This was because Ling Xiao saw that the light gate formed by the mustard seed array formation instantly disappeared with a loud bang. Ling Xiao's eyes turned bloodshot instantly. Sun Feng, damn you! Ling Xiao clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails dug into his palms, leaving traces of blood. His heart was filled with towering rage. At this moment, Ling Xiao could no longer be bothered with his anger. This was because the group of long-armed apes behind him had already surrounded him. Each of their eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as they surrounded Ling Xiao. Especially the long-armed ape king. He was over 100 feet tall and was surrounded by a murderous aura. His blood-red eyes were glaring at Ling Xiao with a terrifying aura. "Brother Ape, it's not good to fight and kill. Why don't we have a good talk?" Ling Xiao forced a smile on his face as he looked at the long-armed Ape King and said, "Since the long-armed Ape King had the strength of a peak rank 6 demonic beast, it should have the intelligence of an ordinary human. Perhaps it could understand Ling Xiao's words." The long-armed Ape King was taken aback as he stared at Ling Xiao. His eyes were still cold and he did not say a word. "Brother Ape, you guys must have been trapped in this secret realm for a long time, right? How about this, I'll bring you guys out?" Ling Xiao probed. He was a little nervous as he was unsure if the long-armed Ape King could understand his words.
What?
The long-armed Ape King suddenly let out a furious roar. Its blood-red eyes were covered with a layer of black light. A faint murderous aura emanated from its body, giving off a dark, evil and cold aura. The long-armed Ape King did not hesitate as he raised his huge metal cudgel and smashed it towards Ling Xiao with a murderous aura. Strange black fog? Ling Xiao's body trembled. Although the layer of black light in the long-armed Ape King's eyes was faint, Ling Xiao could still sense it. It was the strange black fog that he had encountered a few times before. How did these long-armed Ape Kings get tainted by the strange black fog? However, Ling Xiao could not be bothered to think about these things at this moment because the long-armed Ape King's metal cudgel was already coming down on him. Light flashed beneath Ling Xiao's feet as he retreated instantly. Rumble! The long-armed Ape King's cudgel landed on the ground with a loud rumble. A crack that was dozens of feet long appeared and Ling Xiao was sent flying dozens of feet away by the shockwave. What a freak! It's worthy of being an archaic variant. This violent strength is even stronger than mine. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of astonishment. After he had cultivated the Earth Dragon body, his physical strength had increased by 100-fold. Ling Xiao was confident that he could even kill a rank 6 demonic beast with a single punch. However, the long-armed Ape King was too terrifying. With the strength of a peak rank 6 demonic beast and the bloodline of an archaic variant, it was similar to the chaotic world demonic ape. It possessed a strength that was close to that of a demonic lord. Ling Xiao could not help but admit his inferiority. Roar! Under the command of the long-armed Ape King, all the long-armed Ape Kings began to go on a rampage. Each of them thumped their chests and pounced towards Ling Xiao without fear of death. "Bastards, do you really think I'm afraid of you?" A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, and he suddenly opened his mouth and roared.
What?
A dragon's roar came from Ling Xiao's mouth. It shook the heavens and exuded an ancient and mysterious aura. At the same time, the secret skill of the ancestral dragon in Ling Xiao's body exploded. The blood of the earth dragon in his body began to burn. A powerful dragon's aura, as if the archaic dragon had awoken from its slumber, emanated from Ling Xiao's body. The dragon tribe was the supreme divine beast, the ruler of the billions of demonic beasts. They had once dominated an era, killing archaic divine demons and hunting archaic behemoths. They were the top tribe. Therefore, the aura of the dragon tribe was extremely intimidating to most demonic beasts. Even though this group of giant long-armed apes possessed a trace of the primordial bloodline, they were still ordinary demons after all. When they felt the pure dragon's might from Ling Xiao's body, their eyes were immediately filled with fear. Only the long-armed Ape King was not afraid. Although his eyes were filled with fear, he remained where he was and did not continue to attack Ling Xiao. Chapter 258. However, he did not let his guard down. He continued to use the secret skill of the ancestral dragon, exuding a vast and majestic dragon aura. His expression was calm and indifferent as he walked towards the giant long-armed apes. No matter what, he could not lose his momentum. As expected, all the giant long-armed apes could not help but tremble when they felt the dragon aura getting closer and closer. They automatically opened a path for Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao walked past the giant long-armed apes calmly with steady footsteps. The group of giant long-armed apes behind him stared at Ling Xiao with fear and struggle in their eyes. Since the giant long-armed Ape King did not make any moves, All the giant long-armed apes stopped in their tracks. Only when Ling Xiao walked out of the group of giant long-armed apes did he heave a sigh of relief. His back was drenched in sweat. If the giant long-armed apes had broken free from their fear of the dragon aura and were surrounded by them, Ling Xiao would have died without a doubt. However, Ling Xiao had made the right bet. Ling Xiao did not dare to quicken his pace and continued to walk forward slowly. The giant long-armed apes behind him looked at Ling Xiao in silence, forming a strange scene. The immortality peach tree was right in front of him. The immortality peach tree was about 10 feet tall. Its branches and leaves were intertwined with each other and its entire body emitted a faint glow. Although the leaves were sparse, there was a sacred aura around it, especially the dozens of immortality peaches hanging from the branches. Each of them shone with golden light and a fragrant smell. It was obvious that they were precious treasures. Around the immortality peach tree, there were 2 giant long-armed apes who were about to pick the immortality peaches. However, when they felt the dragon aura from Ling Xiao, they immediately became obedient and stood there, not daring to move. The closer Ling Xiao got to the immortality peach tree, the more he struggled in his heart. These giant long-armed apes were most likely the demonic beasts guarding the immortality peach tree. The immortality peaches were already ripe. If he left now, the immortality peaches would fall into the hands of these giant long-armed apes. However, if he were to pick the immortality peaches, the giant long-armed apes would probably break free from their fear of the dragon aura and turn around to hunt him down. What should he do? Ling Xiao had already reached the immortality peach tree. The 2 giant long-armed apes were only rank 4 demonic beasts. At this moment, their bodies were trembling and their eyes were filled with fear. Let's go all out. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, and he immediately made up his mind. If he gave up the peaches of immortality now, he might not have another chance. If he didn't take it, he would be punished instead. How could he leave such a heavenly treasure to these beasts? Ling Xiao made up his mind and threw out 2 punches at lightning speed. His fists were blazing hot and directly knocked the 2 long-armed giant apes unconscious. At the same time, a bright light flashed in Ling Xiao's hand. The evil vanquisher sword emitted a sharp light as it slashed the area around the immortality peach tree. In an instant, the immortality peach tree was uprooted by Ling Xiao. Then, he quickly put it into his longevity ring and used his movement technique to rush forward. Ling Xiao's series of actions were done in one go. By the time the group of apes reacted, Ling Xiao had already kept the ancient peach tree into his longevity ring. Roar! The long-armed ape king's eyes were filled with rage. At this moment, he no longer cared about Ling Xiao's powerful dragon aura. He grabbed his huge metal rod and chased after Ling Xiao with all his might. The long-armed ape king had been waiting for the peaches of immortality to ripen for hundreds of years. He was waiting for the peaches of immortality to ripen so that he could break through to rank 7 demon lord. In the end, the long-armed ape king's peaches were taken by this audacious brat. How could he take this lying down? The long-armed ape king's body was filled with murderous aura. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he roared and charged forward. Under the lead of their king, all the giant long-armed apes instantly forgot about the deterrence of the dragon's might and roared loudly as they chased after Ling Xiao. Rumble! The earth trembled as if thousands of horses were galloping. Hundreds of long-armed apes turned into a flood and chased after Ling Xiao in a frenzy. Isn't it just a few peaches? These beasts have gone mad. Ling Xiao was also shocked and ran even faster. He unleashed all his cultivation. His entire body was like a bolt of golden lightning. He pierced through the void, passed through the dense forest, and fled towards the mountain peak in the distance. Behind him, the long-armed ape king, who was more than 100 feet tall, chased after Ling Xiao as fast as lightning. Moreover, its speed was getting faster and faster, leaving all the long-armed apes behind. All the rocks and ancient trees in its way were smashed into smithereens. It hated Ling Xiao to the extreme and its furious roar echoed through the forest. Ling Xiao had no doubt that if he dared to stop, he would be torn to pieces by the long-armed ape king no matter how powerful the dragon aura was, even if the secret skill of the ancestral dragon was fully unleashed. The valley was huge. The further he went, the more he could feel the vastness of the valley. Ling Xiao saw that at the end of the valley, there was a huge mountain peak that pierced through the clouds. It exuded a vast and ancient aura. The peak of the mountain was shrouded in white clouds. The mountain was majestic, as if it was the king of the mountains. It had an indescribable domineering aura. Moreover, Ling Xiao felt an extremely familiar aura from the mountain peak. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he instantly quickened his pace. Swoosh swoosh. Ling Xiao and the long-armed ape king, one running and the other chasing, rapidly approached the mountain peak. The closer they got to the mountain peak, the more Ling Xiao felt the majestic aura of the mountain peak. Moreover, there was a mysterious fluctuation that permeated the air. As for the long-armed ape king, its footsteps slowed down. There was a tinge of fear and indignation in its eyes. It's afraid of the mountain peak? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. His mental strength had been monitoring the state of the long-armed ape king. Therefore, he instantly sensed the long-armed ape king's fear. At the thought of this, Ling Xiao's body moved even faster. Golden lightning flashed and clouds surrounded him, making him look like he was riding on the clouds. The Cloud Dragon 9 changes, an Earth-class peerless martial skill, was executed to the extreme by Ling Xiao. In just a moment he had leaped onto the mountain peak before him. Behind him, the long-armed ape king let out an indignant roar and stopped at the foot of the mountain. Its eyes were filled with indignation and anger. "Brother ape, come up if you dare. I'll fight you for 300 rounds." Ling Xiao taunted the long-armed ape king shamelessly. Seeing the long-armed ape king roaring in anger, Ling Xiao laughed out loud and walked up the mountain peak. The mountain peak was majestic and had jagged rocks of strange shapes. However, the trees were sparse and most of them were withered. There was no sign of life. A mysterious fluctuation permeated the air and shrouded the entire mountain peak. There was a faint feeling that caused one's heart to tremble. Ling Xiao followed the mountain path and walked up the mountain peak. Along the way, he saw some broken corpses. There were also some ancient swords and long spears that were stabbed into the huge rocks. However, the essence of the weapons had long dissipated and they had become scrap metal. Chapter 259. Ling Xiao raised his head and saw that the mountain peak was shrouded in clouds. The sky was dark, but he could vaguely see a corner of an ancient palace. It was giving off a holy aura. That is? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel a strange black mist coming from the ancient palace. This mustard seed array has covered such a large area. It seems like it's not just to hide the immortality peach tree. Perhaps its main purpose is to hide this mountain peak. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. He took a step forward, stepping on the hard mountain rocks as he walked towards the ancient palace. Clouds and mist swirled around, and the surroundings were blurry. There were no signs of life. It was as if this place had turned into a deathly stillness. There was only that ancient palace. The closer they got, the more they could feel a mysterious aura spreading out. Holy yet evil, bright yet dark. That ancient palace gave Ling Xiao a very strange feeling. There were more and more corpses around. There were broken weapons and broken rocks. There were still traces of a great battle. Time had washed away everything, but it couldn't hide the past. Ling Xiao saw a dragon-shaped saber. It was still emitting a cold saber intent and killing intent. However, the blade was broken. It should have been a powerful Dao artifact, but it had lost its power. Ling Xiao also saw a white skeleton. The bones were hard and gave off a faint glow. There was a black bull horn on the abdomen that had pierced through his body. The space between his eyebrows was cracked and his true spirit had dissipated. Such hard bones could only be left behind by a monarch realm expert at the very least. Ling Xiao was sad. He thought about the strange black mist and looked at the traces of a great battle. He couldn't help but imagine how tragic the battle was 10,000 years ago. Even the heaven-devouring secret skill couldn't refine the strange black mist. If Ling Xiao didn't have the wordless heavenly book that could counter the strange black mist, he would have died. 10,000 years ago, those strange creatures descended and unleashed a great calamity. They ravaged the entire Eight Desolates region, destroying the long-life sect that had swept through the entire region and shocked the world. Where is she? Did she survive? Ling Xiao sighed. The 8 desolate secret land was shrouded in layers of mist. Ling Xiao could not help but want to explore it. Back then, the 8 great ancient countries were vassal states of the longevity sect. They were closely related to the longevity sect. Maybe they could really find news about Jinsei? Ling Xiao's footsteps became heavy. Ling Xiao stepped over the piles of corpses and slowly walked to the top of the mountain. There was a simple and unadorned palace there. Although it looked a little dilapidated, it was well preserved. Outside the palace, there were corpses everywhere. There were incense burners, demon-subduing pestles, prayer beads, and wooden fish everywhere. However, most of them were damaged, and there wasn't any precious light. They had all turned into scrap metal. Bang! Ling Xiao kicked a huge bronze plaque. Ling Xiao blew away the dust on it, revealing 4 ancient words. The Great Strength Hall. The Great Buddha Hall of Buddhism? There is no Buddhism in the 8 Desolates region, so why is there a plaque of the Great Strength Hall here? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with doubt. 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolates region was the territory of the longevity sect. There were no traces of Buddhism. However, there was a plaque of the Great Strength Hall on this mountain, which surprised Ling Xiao. Finally, Ling Xiao's gaze landed on the palace. The 2 stone doors were tightly shut, and there was a mysterious fluctuation coming from them. Ling Xiao walked towards the palace slowly and stood in front of the huge stone door. He placed his palm on the stone door. It was bone-chilling to the touch, and there was a chill that could freeze one's soul. Open! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and unparalleled divine energy exploded from his body. The 2 stone doors were instantly pushed open by him. In an instant, a strange black fog surged over like a bloody mouth, wanting to swallow Ling Xiao whole. Ling Xiao was already prepared. His eyes flashed with a cold light, and the wordless heavenly book in his sea of consciousness shook slightly. A mysterious light rolled out from his glabella, and it devoured all the strange black mist. Inside the palace, there was an 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue. It was refined, and there was a faint Buddhist light around it. There was also a strange black mist lingering around it. In the middle of the pond of virtue sat an ancient monk wearing a kasaya. There were 10 incense scars on his head, and he was emitting a mysterious aura. The ancient monk looked lifelike, and his eyes were lowered. He had a benevolent look on his face, and his entire body was emitting a clear and benevolent aura. However, the strange thing was that half of his body was emitting a golden light, and the other half was emitting a black light. With the glabella as the dividing line, half of his body was shining with Buddhist light, and the other half was emitting an eerie demonic aura. The 2 auras of holiness and evil intertwined, making him look exceptionally evil. And those black lights were the strange black fog. Why is there an ancient monk here? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he slowly walked towards the pond of virtue. This 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue, and virtue was in the shape of a refinement. There were a total of 8 petals, and each petal had an ancient rune. There was a thread between them that slowly intertwined and suppressed the body of the ancient monk in the center. Other than the 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue, the entire palace was very spacious, but there was a mysterious flow of energy. When Ling Xiao saw the runes on the 8 petals, his eyes were instantly filled with excitement. The 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Array. Jinsei. It's Jinsei's work. So Jinsei really came here. Ling Xiao's heart was in turmoil, and his originally calm state of mind was instantly lost. He was so excited that his entire body trembled. The 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Array was the array that Ling Xiao had imparted to Jinsei in the past. When Ling Xiao had become the world's #1 sovereign, he had used the power of yin and yang, wind, thunder, volcano, and the power of the laws of heaven and earth to form a sovereign god array. It had the power to kill sovereigns, slay gods, and exterminate demons. In the world, other than Ling Xiao, only Jinsei could set it up. However, before Ling Xiao could test the power of the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Array, he had already died in the Scarlet Dragon's secret territory. Ling Xiao had not expected to see the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Array here. The 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue was actually formed from the energy of the earth veins and the power of the laws of heaven and earth. And this ancient monk in front of him had actually become the eye of the 8 Desolate Devil Suppression Grand Formation. Ling Xiao was incomparably shocked. It seemed that the ancient monk must have been a sovereign when he was alive. Otherwise, he would not have been qualified to be the array eye of the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Array. Ling Xiao carefully examined the array and found that it had indeed merged with the laws of heaven and earth of the entire 8 Desolation secret territory. It contained a strong sealing power. However, what surprised Ling Xiao was that the ancient monk in front of him did not have any vitality, but why was he tainted by the strange black gas? Could it be that the strange creature suppressed in the underground sea is under this mountain? Chapter 260. The strange creature that Ling Xiao saw in the underground ocean had a majestic aura and was incomparably terrifying. At the very least, it had the strength of a supreme being. If it wasn't for the seal underground, Ling Xiao wouldn't have been able to come out alive. Because he left in a hurry, Ling Xiao didn't carefully investigate the seal underground. Now that he thought about it, perhaps it was the power of the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation. The ancient monk sat cross-legged in the 8 Treasure Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue. His head was lowered, and his face was filled with a compassionate expression. However, his temperament was extremely strange. Half of it was glowing with Buddhist light, while the other half was surging with demonic qi. He was tainted by the strange black fog, but there wasn't the slightest fluctuation of life on his body. To be able to remain intact for 10,000 years and be used as the eye of the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation by Jinsei, this ancient monk's strength was definitely extremely terrifying. However, his origin made Ling Xiao very puzzled. 10,000 years ago, Ling Xiao was the #1 supreme being in the world. He had some understanding of almost all the supreme experts in this world, but he had never seen this ancient monk. However, this ancient monk's body was glowing, and his body was indestructible. The terrifying fluctuation was even stronger than Ling Xiao's previous life. This ancient monk is so powerful, but he's also been tainted by the strange black fog. In the long run, I'm afraid the seal left behind by the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation will be broken. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. Although the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation was powerful, this ancient monk was formed from the eye of the formation. If the ancient monk was completely tainted by the strange black fog and turned from a Buddha to a devil, the terrifying creature underground would probably really break the seal and come out. In the current 8 Desolation region, there might not even be a monarch realm expert, let alone a supreme being. Once that terrifying creature came out, the entire 8 Desolation region would probably be destroyed. The only thing I can do now is to move this ancient monk away. Although the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation's strength will be much weaker without the eye of the formation, it can still suppress that terrifying creature for 10 years at least. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Rather than waiting for the ancient monk to be tainted by the strange black fog and turn into a peerless devil, why not move it out of the eye of the formation and strengthen the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation again? At least it could suppress that terrifying creature for 10 years. And with a buffer of 10 years, perhaps Ling Xiao would be able to find a way to deal with that terrifying creature. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of determination. The 8 Desolation Devil Subduing Great Array was created by Ling Xiao, so he naturally knew how to remove the array core. Moreover, after 10,000 years, although the 8 Desolation Devil Subduing Great Array used the earth vein as its energy, it had also weakened significantly. Ling Xiao walked towards the ancient monk. His hands glowed faintly as he formed seals in the air. In an instant he sent out 8 palms, landing on the heaven, earth, yin, yang, wind, thunder, volcano, and 8 directional divine seals. Boom! Suddenly, 8 resplendent rays of light shot out from the 8 treasure lotus pond of virtue and virtue. They slowly intertwined in the air, and the ancient monk in the center was lifted up by a mass of golden light and floated up. Rise. A light flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes. His hands radiated with copious amounts of energy, wanting to move the ancient monk out of the 8 treasures lotus pond. Rumble. But at this moment, an incomparably vast power, holy and evil intertwined, filled with life and death, erupted from the ancient monk's body. Ling Zhao could feel that the golden body of the ancient monk, which was originally filled with the aura of death, actually had a trace of vitality that was slowly recovering. Not good. Ling Zhao's expression changed as he felt a strong sense of danger. His body immediately turned into a ray of golden light and retreated in an instant. Boom! The ancient monk in front of him suddenly opened his eyes. 2 rays of divine light, one golden and one black, shot out, instantly exploding in the air. Buzz! Buzz! The air trembled slightly. Golden rays of light filled the air, holy and vast. At the same time, it was accompanied by an evil and dark power. The ancient monk stood up from the 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue. A vicissitude, ancient, mysterious, and vast fluctuations spread out, accompanied by a world-destroying evil aura. Righteousness and evil intertwined, light and darkness coexisted. At this moment, the ancient monk looked like a Buddha and demon that cultivated both righteousness and evil. He had awakened from his endless slumber. One of his eyes shone with a resplendent golden light, containing boundless benevolence, while the other was filled with an eerie demonic aura, emitting a crazy, bloodthirsty, world-destroying murderous intent. Such different auras appearing on the same person at the same time made one's scalp tingle, and one's entire body was filled with bone-chilling coldness. He stood there with an extraordinary look. The light in his eyes converged, and in the end, they were filled with deep confusion. Ling Zhao was also shocked by the scene in front of him. Previously, he was very sure that the ancient monk was indeed dead. His entire body was filled with a deathly aura, without any signs of life, and his primordial spirit had completely dissipated. But now, the ancient monk, the demonic Buddha, had actually come back to life. Life and death did not enter the cycle of reincarnation, and the cycle of life and death repeated itself. This concept of reincarnation made Ling Zhao's heart tremble. Because, even in his previous life, Ling Zhao did not understand the mystery of life and death. Senior, who are you? Ling Zhao stood in front of the demonic Buddha and asked carefully. I. The demonic Buddha slowly opened his mouth. His voice was obscure, and a few strange syllables came out of his mouth. His eyes were filled with confusion. Senior, do you know why you are here? Who put you here? Ling Zhao asked softly. Although the demonic Buddha in front of him looked terrifyingly strong, Ling Zhao still wanted to try and find out the whereabouts of Jin Sei from him. They're all dead. Gods are dead. Buddha is annihilated. Eternal sea of bitterness. 8 treasures of merit, only I am left. The demonic Buddha did not look at Ling Zhao. His voice was deep and filled with vicissitudes of life, containing a sense of sorrow. 2 lines of blood tears flowed down from his eyes. The kasaya on his body was very tattered, and the Buddhist light and demonic aura on his body had fused together. There was a faint, strange power bursting forth and gathering at his vitality, allowing him to come back from the dead and reappear in the world. Ling Zhao had no way to understand this strange change. However, the demonic Buddha did not seem to hear Ling Zhao's words at all. He stood there crying and laughing. His voice was sorrowful, and his blood-red eyes stared at the sky as he slowly walked out of the ancient palace. Senior, Ling Zhao shouted a few times, but the demonic Buddha did not seem to hear him. He walked out of the ancient palace with heavy steps, and his figure disappeared in front of Ling Zhao. Boom! Ling Zhao wanted to follow him out and ask him about it. He had too many doubts in his heart, but just as the demonic Buddha left, a strange black mist gushed out of the 8 treasures lotus merit pool. It was surging violently as if it was about to overflow. Not good. Chapter 261. Rumble. Strange black fog surged out of the 8 treasures lotus pond of merits and virtues. It changed its shape in the void, resembling phantoms of demon gods, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they rushed towards Ling Zhao. The strange black fog seemed to have sensed the departure of the demon Buddha. A flaw appeared in the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Grand Array, and it began to erupt. Rumble! The entire mountain began to tremble. A terrifying roar came from the depths of the earth, as if it wanted to tear the world apart and rush out from the depths of the earth. Not good. Ling Zhao's expression changed. He simply released the control of the wordless heavenly book. A brilliant light shot out from between his eyebrows. The wordless heavenly book rushed out and floated above the 8 treasures lotus pond of merits and virtues. Buzz. The wordless heavenly book emitted a bright light and floated in the void. Golden runes hung down like divine chains, emitting a mysterious and majestic aura. The strange black fog seemed to have met its nemesis. It wailed like ghosts and howled like wolves. The golden divine chains wrapped around it, and it was instantly swallowed by the wordless heavenly book. Bang, bang, bang. The wordless heavenly scripture was like a heart, slowly beating. Every time it breathed in and out, it would devour large swaths of the strange black mist. None of the black mist could escape the range of the 8 treasures lotus pool of virtue. Wisps of mysterious essence energy merged into Ling Zhao's body. It was like the purest Xiantian energy, slowly improving his foundation and enriching his life source. Of course, the most important thing was that the power of his spirit began to advance by leaps and bounds. Although this strange black fog was terrifying, and if an ordinary martial artist were to come into contact with it, they would instantly be assimilated into a monster that only knew how to kill. However, the wordless heavenly book was its nemesis. Moreover, it could devour the power of the strange black fog and transform it into the purest mental strength. Ling Zhao simply sat cross-legged beside the 8 treasures lotus pond of merits and virtues. His hands rapidly formed seals, activating the 8 divine seals of heaven, earth, yin, yang, wind, thunder, volcano, and fire to seal off the power of the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression Grand Array. At the same time, he was refining the mysterious energy from the wordless heavenly book. Furthermore, as Ling Zhao's spiritual power grew stronger, so did the Universal Devil Suppression Grand Formation. In the end, the Octaterra Demon Suppression Grand Formation used the 8 energies of heaven, earth, yin, yang, wind, thunder, fire, and fire as its foundation. It mobilized the power of heaven and earth, used the dragon chi of the earth, and the power of the laws of the heaven to form a powerful sealing force. It could erupt with unparalleled power to seal or even destroy those powerful beings. Although the strange creature underground was terrifying, it was still unable to break free from the power of the 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Great Formation. It had no way of destroying the 8 Desolation Secret Land, so it was impossible for it to escape. Now, although the demonic Buddha had left as the eye of the formation, the power of the universal demon subduing formation was extremely weak. In Ling Zhao's opinion, it would be difficult for it to hold on for 10 years. Moreover, the moment the demonic Buddha left and the universal demon subduing formation showed a flaw, the strange black fog began to riot. If not for the existence of the wordless heavenly tome, it would have been impossible for Ling Zhao to reseal the Universal Devil Suppression Grand Formation. The strange black fog could have swallowed him in an instant. Ling Zhao seemed to feel that from the depths of the endless underground, the angry roar was getting louder and louder. It seemed to have felt the threat of the wordless heavenly tome, but it was unwilling to retreat. More and more strange black fog, mixed with balls of black divine light, erupted in the 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue. Rumble! The violent divine light exploded, and the strange black fog contained the power to destroy everything. It wanted to break through the seal of the divine chains of order and escape completely. However, it was useless. The wordless heavenly tome emitted a mysterious light. Those soft divine chains of order looked like they could be broken by a touch, but they were incomparably sturdy. They blocked all the black divine light inside. At the same time, the 8 divine seals of heaven, earth, yin, yang, wind, thunder, fire, and fire burst out with bright light. The entire 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue began to spurt out divine light, and the 8 divine seals slowly floated up and began to merge. Once the 8 divine seals merged again, the Octoterra Demon Suppression Grand Formation would stabilize again. Rumble. As if sensing the threat of the 8 divine seals, the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue began to tremble. A furious roar containing a monstrous baleful aura rose from the pond. Moreover, a black demonic palm broke through the layers of seals and struggled to grab the wordless heavenly book. Black divine light flashed, and the laws of heaven and earth seemed to be shattered by this grab. The void trembled slightly. The terrifying power contained in this grab made Ling Zhao's eyes turn serious. Could the wordless heavenly tome block this demonic palm? Boom! Those soft divine chains of order instantly erupted at this moment. The divine chains of order intertwined, and endless golden light spread out. The wordless heavenly tome actually slowly opened at this moment, and a golden ancient rune character floated out from it. It seemed to contain the mysteries of heaven and earth, and it directly imprinted on the black demonic palm. Heaven and earth trembled, and the entire mountain peak began to shake violently. The black demonic palm actually began to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the strange black fog in the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue was instantly swallowed up by the wordless heavenly tome. A powerful and pure energy instantly poured into Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness, containing a majestic and mysterious power. Ling Zhao's dissipated spiritual energy actually slowly condensed in an instant, forming a small golden figure, emitting a soft golden light. The small golden figure seemed to be only an inch tall, but it contained a majestic and unparalleled power. Its face was exactly the same as Ling Zhao's, and it sat cross-legged in the sea of consciousness. In an instant, it shone brightly, and the world shook. This is the primordial spirit? Ling Zhao's body trembled, and a trace of excitement appeared in his eyes. A warrior's spiritual energy was usually very scattered. Even an alchemy master's spiritual energy was strong, but it was not condensed into a form. For an expert at the 9th level of the celestial realm to break through to the noble stage, and for an alchemy master to break through to the alchemy grandmaster, the most crucial step was to condense a martial path primordial spirit, dominate one's own world, and condense the will of heaven and earth to become a supreme noble. However, it was too difficult to condense a martial path primordial spirit. Otherwise, Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Chunyang Zhenren, these 3 outstanding martial arts geniuses, would not have wasted so many years at the 9th level of the celestial realm. One could imagine how great of a fortune it was for Ling Zhao to be able to take this step. No, this is only the embryonic form of the primordial spirit, and not the true primordial spirit. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and he felt a faint trace of the will of heaven and earth condensing on the small primordial spirit. Generally, the weakest martial path primordial spirit was 3 inches tall, and some exceptional geniuses could even condense a 9-inch primordial spirit, or even stronger. Chapter 262. Ling Zhao's mental strength had indeed become much stronger and had reached the level of a peerless alchemy master. However, there was still a long way to go before he could reach the alchemy grandmaster realm. That black demonic palm is actually so terrifying? Ling Zhao was pleasantly surprised. No matter how much the wordless heavenly book devoured, it could only increase his mental strength. It was far from being able to instantly condense the embryonic form of the martial Tao primordial spirit. Therefore, what shocked Ling Zhao was the black demonic palm. However, a black demonic palm was already so terrifying. Once the true body of the strange creature was born, what kind of monstrous demonic flames would it be? Boom! As the black demonic palm was destroyed, the 8 divine seals instantly merged into one and fell back into the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Merit and Virtue. The 8 Desolation Demon Suppression formations stabilized again. Ling Zhao heaved a sigh of relief, but the seriousness in his eyes did not lessen at all. It seems that I still underestimated that strange creature. With the current power of the 8 Desolation Demon Suppression formation, it might be able to seal it for 3 years. Ling Zhao smiled bitterly. That strange creature has been sealed for 10,000 years. It should be at its weakest now. If I can kill it now, it might be the best opportunity. However, I'm afraid I can't do it by myself. Ling Xiao frowned and thought to himself. Although the wordless heavenly book was powerful, it was only a treasure after all. Ling Xiao's cultivation was too weak. He might die before he could even get close to that strange creature. If Senior Demon Buddha makes a move, he might be able to kill it. However, Ling Xiao thought of the Demon Buddha. Although the Demon Buddha's state was very strange, with the chi of life and death intertwined. He looked like a living dead, but his strength was extremely powerful. Ling Xiao felt that the Demon Buddha had at least the combat strength of a monarch realm expert. However, when he thought of the Demon Buddha's chaotic state, Ling Xiao couldn't help but smile bitterly. The Demon Buddha seemed a little deranged and didn't even know who he was. It was unrealistic to ask him to eliminate the demon. Now, I can only slowly think of a way. Ling Xiao sighed softly. That strange creature was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. It was a great threat to the entire 8 Desolates region. However, Ling Xiao did not have any good ideas. Ling Xiao stood up and looked at the 8 treasures lotus pond of virtue and virtue. His eyes revealed a trace of nostalgia. This 8 Desolation Devil Suppression Grand Formation was the only clue Ling Xiao had left behind to find Jin Sei. Unfortunately, he still couldn't find Jin Sei's location. That Senior Devil Buddha might know. I can only wait for him to regain his consciousness and find an opportunity to ask him. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Then he slowly walked out of the ancient hall and closed the 2 doors. The Immortality Peach Tree must be brought back to the Longevity Sect as soon as possible. Only the Path Understanding Tree can accelerate its growth. These peaches are extremely precious to the disciples of the Longevity Sect. Each of them can create a genius or even a monster. With a flash of light, Ling Xiao took out the ancient peach tree from his longevity ring. There were a total of 15 peaches. Each of them was the size of a bowl. They shone with a golden light and a fragrant smell. At first glance, one could tell that they were peerless treasures. Spiritual herbs could be divided into lower-grade spiritual herbs, middle-grade spiritual herbs, upper-grade spiritual herbs, supreme-grade spiritual herbs, royal-grade spiritual herbs, and supreme sage herbs. Although this Immortality Peach Tree was not as precious as the Path Understanding Tree, it was still at the level of a royal-grade spiritual herb. Not only could the Immortality Peach increase one's lifespan by 300 years, but it could also allow a martial artist to be reborn and raise their aptitude. Even a good-for-nothing could be raised to the level of a genius by a single Immortality Peach. It could also allow a genius to evolve into a monster. However, the Immortality Peach Tree grew on the dragon chi of the spiritual veins. Without a suitable method, it would die easily. Ling Xiao did not know why the martial arts Holy Lands had only left behind this Immortality Peach Tree after plundering all the treasures and inheritances in the 8 Desolates secret region. Perhaps it was because of the long-armed ape kings? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. In the end, he used spiritual crystals to set up a formation and used a seal to seal the vitality of the Immortality Peach Tree. Then, he carefully placed it into his longevity ring. It might be difficult for others to transplant the Immortality Peach Tree, but it was not difficult for Ling Xiao. The Yin-Yang Valley should be opening soon. I wonder how Sister Qing Qing and the rest are doing with their cultivation. Ling Xiao thought to himself. It took Ling Xiao more than a day to reseal the 8 Desolates Demon Suppression Formation. By his calculations, the Yin-Yang Valley should be opening soon. Ling Xiao left the ancient palace and walked down the mountain. He did not know if the long-armed ape king was still guarding the foot of the mountain. If the long-armed ape king was not around, Ling Xiao could find an opportunity to find the exit of the mustard seed formation. If the long-armed ape king was still guarding the foot of the mountain, it would be troublesome. This time, Ling Xiao did not choose to go back the way he came. Instead, he went down the mountain through a small path. This towering mountain seemed to have a special meaning. It was where the earth veins of the 8 Desolates secret region gathered. Hence, it could be used as the hub of the 8 Desolates Demon Suppression Formation. On his way down the mountain, Ling Xiao came across many wreckage and weapons. He even came across many dilapidated palaces and caves. However, the treasures and inheritances within had all been swept clean. There were no valuable treasures left behind. Moreover, Ling Xiao noticed that the few plants on the mountain had all withered. There was even a faint, strange black fog lingering around. The originally majestic and boundless divine mountain had actually become eerie and ghostly. A faint and strange black fog drifted about, turning everything that had life into a land of death one after another. It seems like the demonic Buddha left the 8 treasures lotus pond of merits and virtues and allowed some of the strange black fog to escape. Ling Xiao's heart was heavy. The strange black fog that he encountered along the way was devoured by the wordless heavenly book. Not long after, Ling Xiao arrived at the foot of the mountain. The long-armed ape king? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He saw the long-armed ape king standing at the foot of the mountain. It was exuding a monstrous aura. It was like a small mountain, blocking Ling Xiao's path. Why is this guy here? Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. He didn't expect his worst fears to come true. In order to avoid the long-armed ape king, he took a detour down the mountain. He didn't expect to meet this big guy. Something's not right. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt that something was wrong with the long-armed ape king. His entire body was shrouded in a layer of strange black fog and his blood was boiling. Even though his eyes were cold and bloodthirsty, there was a hint of pleading in his eyes when he looked at Ling Xiao. The strange black fog in its body has erupted? Ling Xiao's eyes darkened. He suddenly thought of something. Previously, when he was confronting the long-armed ape king, he had already sensed the fluctuations of the strange black fog from the long-armed ape king's body. However, at that time, the influence of the strange black fog on the long-armed ape king was very small and did not threaten its foundation. Now, the long-armed ape king was shrouded in the strange black fog. It wanted to completely erode it and turn it into a monster that only knew how to kill. Chapter 263. It's asking for help from me? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Just a day ago, Ling Xiao was still fighting to the death with this group of long-armed ape kings. Ling Xiao had even snatched away their immortality peach tree. Ling Xiao reckoned that the moment the long-armed ape kings saw Ling Xiao, they would be incomparably enraged and tear Ling Xiao to pieces. However, he did not expect the strange black fog in the long-armed ape king's body to erupt. The ape king was desperate and sought help from Ling Xiao. Is this fellow trying to trick me? Ling Xiao's expression was a little strange. He stood on the mountain peak and did not descend immediately. The strange black fog on the long-armed ape king's body was getting thicker. Ling Xiao could see the crimson red and bloodthirsty eyes of the ape king mixed with an unyielding struggle. The ape king roared and pounded his chest with both fists. The blood in his body boiled as he tried to break free from the corrosion of the strange black fog. However, the strange black fog was like a tarsal bone. It was like a black light that flowed slowly on the ape king's body. In the end, it surged towards the ape king's head. One could imagine that once the ape king was completely engulfed by the strange black fog, its intelligence would be wiped out and it would turn into a monster that only knew how to kill. Forget it. You're lucky. Seeing the unyielding and stubborn look in the ape king's eyes, Ling Xiao was slightly touched and sighed. At this moment, he did not care if the ape king would seek revenge. Ling Xiao decided to save the ape king. Swoosh! Ling Xiao turned into a ray of golden light and swept to the foot of the mountain. Rumble! The space between Ling Xiao's eyebrows shone brightly. Strands of golden light swept across the sky like God-order chains and rolled towards the strange black fog on the ape king's body. The strange black fog felt threatened and boiled instantly. It rose from the ape king's body and spread towards the ape king's head at an even faster speed. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. He slammed his palm down and the heaven-devouring secret skill was fully activated. A golden vortex fell on the ape king's head and devoured the strange black fog. Buzz! The God-order chains intertwined and wrapped around the ape king. Faint runes were imprinted on the ape king's body and they were constantly devouring the strange black fog. At the same time, Although Ling Zhao's heaven-devouring secret skill could not devour the strange black fog as fast as the wordless heavenly book, it was able to prevent the black fog's spread. Rumble. The strange black fog on the Ape King's body seemed to be boiling. It charged left and right, but in the end, it was unable to break through the blockade of the God sequence chains. In the end, the strange black fog was completely devoured. The Ape King gradually regained its calm, and its eyes became clear again. In an instant, Ling Zhao's figure dashed out several hundred feet and stood on top of the mountain peak again. He looked at the long-armed Ape King warily. The long-armed Ape King roared at Ling Zhao, but its voice was very low and slow. Its cold eyes softened as it looked at Ling Zhao with gratitude. It scratched its head, looking very simple and honest. Then, to Ling Zhao's surprise, the huge body of the Ape King actually knelt down and kowtowed to Ling Zhao a few times. This time, Ling Zhao felt a little embarrassed. He seemed to have been a little too vigilant. The Ape King really knew how to repay kindness. "Brother Ape, please get up." Ling Zhao laughed bitterly and slowly walked down from the mountain peak. It seemed like after saving the Ape King, not only did he resolve the Ape King's hatred for him, he even gained the Ape King's favor. "Don't go near this mountain in the future. Take your monkeys and leave this place." Ling Zhao looked at the Ape King and smiled, then prepared to leave. Roar! The Ape King stared at Ling Zhao with its bell-like eyes. At this moment, its ferocious aura had disappeared, and it looked very simple and honest. It picked up the huge metal rod and followed behind Ling Zhao. "Why are you following me? Hurry up and find your monkey grandchildren." Ling Zhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He realized that the Ape King was sticking to him. Wherever he went, the Ape King would follow. Roar! The Ape King pointed at itself and then at Ling Zhao. It made a few gestures in the air, and its eyes were filled with anticipation. "You mean you want to follow me?" Ling Zhao was slightly taken aback. The Ape King nodded repeatedly. Its face was filled with excitement and emotion. It then raised the huge metal rod in its hand. "You mean, you want to help me beat up the bad guys?" Ling Zhao's expression became even more strange. This big guy looked very ferocious before, but after gaining its favor, Ling Zhao realized that the long-armed Ape King was very simple and honest. Its spiritual intelligence was only equivalent to a 7- or 8-year-old human child. Maybe it's because of the influence of the strange black fog. Ling Zhao thought for a moment. Usually, a peak rank 6 demonic beast's spiritual intelligence was no different from a normal person. Perhaps the Ape King's spiritual intelligence was slower because of the influence of the strange black fog. "Alright, follow me from now on. I'll bring you out of the 8 barren secret region." Ling Zhao smiled and jumped up. He patted the Ape King's furry head. The Ape King nodded repeatedly. Its eyes were filled with excitement. This was a peak rank 6 demonic beast, and an archaic variant. If the bloodline of the long-armed Ape King was fully activated, the potential it could unleash would be terrifying. Ling Zhao thought that the Changsun sect was still too weak. If he could activate the bloodline of the long-armed Ape King and help it break through to rank 7 Demon King, it would be a good choice to be the guardian of the Changsun sect. Roar, roar! The long-armed Ape King pointed at itself and then pointed into the distance. It gestured with its arms and then looked at Ling Zhao with anticipation and pleading. "You mean, you want to bring your monkeys out with you?" Ling Zhao was slightly taken aback. He could understand the meaning of the Ape King's cryptic words. There were more than 100 long-armed apes. If so many long-armed apes were to leave the 8 barren secret region, it would definitely increase the strength of the Changsun sect. However, it would inevitably attract the attention of others. This was not in line with Ling Zhao's temperament of making a fortune silently. The longevity ring is still unable to store living creatures. However, I have the ancient painting left behind by Jinsei. The ancient painting has its own dimension and the void boundary stone. If it could be combined with the longevity ring, not only would it increase the quality of the longevity ring, it might even restore the ability of the longevity ring to store living creatures. Ling Zhao thought to himself. Now that he had the mental strength of a peerless alchemy master, and by chance, he had condensed the embryonic form of the martial way primordial spirit. Perhaps he could try to combine the longevity ring and the ancient painting. Brother Ape, go and gather your monkey grandchildren. Wait for me at the foot of the mountain. I'll think of a way to bring all of you out. Ling Xiao looked at the Ape King and smiled. Chapter 264. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he took out an ancient painting. Looking at the figure in the ancient painting and the poem, Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of sadness. This feeling can become a memory, but I was already at a loss. Jin say, no matter what, I will find you. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. Then, he took a deep breath and suppressed the sadness in his heart. His eyes became incomparably calm again. Boom! The true devouring fire emitted a five-colored light that rose from Ling Xiao's palm. Strands of light wrapped around the ancient painting, and faint runes began to appear on the ancient painting. Ling Xiao was the one who had refined the ancient painting. Thus, he was incomparably familiar with it. The ancient painting was a secret treasure. It contained the secret heaven-gorging technique and the longevity supreme scripture. Additionally, Ling Xiao had also fused a void plane stone into it. The ethereal stone was a top-grade heavenly treasure used to refine supreme weapons. It contained the laws of the void realm and was incomparably precious. What Ling Xiao needed to do now was to take out the ethereal stone from the ancient painting and fuse it with his longevity ring to repair a part of it. Buzz. The true devouring fire shone brightly. Ling Xiao was very careful. He wanted to take out the ethereal stone, but he did not want to destroy the ancient painting. The ancient painting could be said to be the last thing that Jinsei had left for him. The runes on the ancient painting were dazzling. Under Ling Xiao's control, the true devouring fire emitted a five-colored light that fused into the ancient painting like strands of fire. A majestic aura spread out as the true devouring fire began to extract the ethereal stone from the ancient painting. Ling Xiao's movements were very skillful. The ancient painting was a secret treasure that he had personally refined. Therefore, even the difficult method of extracting the ethereal stone was as smooth as flowing water in his hands. Soon, a black ball of light floated out from the ancient painting. The ball of light was as bright as a crystal, and there were specks of silver light floating on its surface. This was the ethereal stone. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The longevity ring floated down from his finger and turned into a ball of light that instantly enveloped the ethereal stone. Buzz. The longevity ring trembled slightly and emitted a faint fluctuation of joy. Ling Xiao could feel that a mysterious rune was beginning to awaken. The dazzling light became even stronger. It was as if the world was being created inside the longevity ring. The void trembled and chaotic fog spread out. The void in all directions was constantly expanding. The space that was originally only 100 feet in radius became bigger and bigger. It seems that as long as I continue to fuse precious heavenly treasures into it, the longevity ring will one day return to its previous life. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. He had sensed the spiritual energy in the longevity ring. Originally, Ling Xiao had assumed that the longevity ring's artifact spirit had already dissipated. However, from the looks of it, perhaps the artifact spirit had been damaged. In the end, however, there was still a seed left. As long as the longevity ring grew stronger, the day would come when the artifact spirit within it would completely awaken. Boom! The surface of the longevity ring shone with the resplendent light. Inside, however, it was as though heaven and earth had been split apart. Countless bolts of lightning flashed and a large stretch of space was split open. Additionally, there was also a faint strand of power of laws spreading out from it. A few hours later, the longevity ring shook slightly and a formidable aura spread out from the longevity ring. Supreme grade prized artifact? What a pity! Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a look of pity. He had thought that with the ethereal stone, he might be able to restore the longevity ring to the level of a low-grade Dao artifact. Unexpectedly, it was still lacking. The damage to the longevity ring had been too severe. One ethereal stone was not enough for the longevity ring to leave behind a Dao seal, engrave the laws, and upgrade it to the level of a Dao artifact. Sensing the space within the longevity ring, Ling Xiao's face revealed a look of satisfaction. The space within the longevity ring had a radius of 50 li. It was almost the size of this valley. It was more than enough to accommodate over 100 great long-armed apes. With a flash of light, the longevity ring reappeared on Ling Xiao's finger. Then, Ling Xiao carefully kept the ancient painting. When Ling Xiao came down from the mountain, he saw the Ape King leading over 100 great long-armed apes at the foot of the mountain. Roar! Seeing Ling Xiao come down from the mountain, the Ape King roared excitedly. His eyes were filled with excitement. The great long-armed apes also looked at Ling Xiao curiously. After all, they had just been tricked by this kid. Even the immortality peach tree was snatched away by him. Now, their king wanted them to submit to this human kid. Immediately, a few of the great long-armed apes revealed looks of dissatisfaction. Put. The Ape King had long since noticed the arrogant great long-armed apes. He quickly ran over and sent a few slaps at them. After being beaten up, the great long-armed apes became obedient. Seeing this, Ling Xiao could not help but smile. Alright, brother ape. Later on, don't resist. I will keep you all into my storage magic treasure first. Once we leave the 8 desolate secret region, I will release you all. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. The Ape King nodded, indicating that he understood. The longevity ring shone with a gentle light, which enveloped all the great long-armed apes. All of the great long-armed apes cast curious looks at the light above their heads. However, all of them stood there obediently, not daring to move. Ling Xiao's mental strength exploded, instantly keeping all of the great long-armed apes into the longevity ring. Sister Qing Qing and the others should be almost done with their cultivation. I hope they don't run around. If they bump into that strange creature, it will be troublesome. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of worry. In an instant he flew into the distance. Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book, which could devour the strange black fog. However, if Qing Qing and the others were contaminated by the strange black fog, they would not be able to resist at all. In the 8 desolate secret region, a black palace sat among the mountains. The black palace was ancient and majestic. It exuded a boundless aura, and there were traces of sharpness in the air. Within the palace, a terrifying saber radiance swept across. A saber essence that seemed to want to destroy the heavens and earth spread out, enveloping a slender young man in a black robe. In front of the black-robed young man, there was a black skeleton. The terrifying saber essence was emanating from the skeleton. The black-robed young man's mouth was spitting out divine radiance. Strands of mysterious saber essence merged into his body. The black skeleton in front of him slowly floated in the void, emitting mysterious energy that surged toward the black-robed young man's limbs and bones. Young Master Qin, how is the refining of the heavenly Saber King's bone going? The Yin-Yang Valley is about to open. If we are late, we will miss it. Chapter 265. Rumble. The black-robed young man opened his eyes abruptly and a cold and sharp light shot out. It was as though the heavenly saber was soaring through the sky. The black skeleton instantly turned into a black mist and surged into his body. The black-robed young man stood up slowly and exuded a terrifying aura. It was as though he was going to split the sky and his saber essence was domineering. He was Chen Fengdao. The bone of the heavenly Saber King has been refined by me. Let's see who can stop me now. Ling Xiao and Lung Feng must die. Chen Fengdao laughed wildly. His black hair flew in the wind and his eyes were extremely cold. His cultivation had reached LV4 of the Grandmaster realm. Moreover, the terrifying saber essence fluctuation caused the young man outside the palace to tremble. Congratulations, young Master Chen. Congratulations. The Heavenly Saber King has the legendary bloodline of the Heavenly Saber. After refining the bone of the Heavenly Saber King, young Master Chen has inherited a part of the power of the bloodline of the Heavenly Saber King. When the time comes, killing Ling Xiao and Lung Feng will be a piece of cake. The black-robed young man outside the palace was called Tang Exen. He was the 9th prince's subordinate. He knelt down in front of Chen Fengdao and said respectfully, Tang Exen was one of the 9th Prince Xia Yunran's men. Other than replacing Xia Yunran, his biggest purpose in entering the 8 desolate secret territory was to bring Chen Fengdao here to refine the heavenly saber king's bone. Ha! Let's go! Chen Fengdao laughed when he heard Tang Xian's compliment. He walked out of the palace with Tang Xian and headed toward the Yinyang Valley in high spirits. Chen Fengdao felt that after refining the bone of the heavenly saber king, not only had his cultivation soared to level 4 of the Grandmaster realm in 3 days, but his comprehension of the saber Dao had also increased. He had instantly comprehended the 3rd slash of the 8 annihilation slashes. He could not wait to find Ling Xiao. Chen Fengdao was full of confidence and wanted to trample Ling Xiao under his feet. Rumble! Golden lightning flashed and the void trembled slightly. Ling Xiao's figure flashed and appeared in the void instantly. He's finally out. This mustard seed formation is really powerful. Ling Xiao sighed. In order to find the exit of the mustard seed array, he had turned the entire valley upside down. In the end, he found a weak node and forcefully broke out of the array. Sun Feng, you dare to plot against me? Let's see if you can escape this time. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, emitting a blazing murderous intent. Sun Feng'an's calculation had almost caused Ling Xiao to fall into a desperate situation. Even Sun Feng did not expect Ling Xiao to not only escape, but also tame the long-armed ape king. The place where Ling Xiao appeared was on top of a cliff, surrounded by clouds and mist, like a fairyland. At the bottom of the cliff, there was a lake. It was so clear that one could see the bottom, and it emitted a faint mist that mixed with the surrounding clouds. It was incomparably misty, and Ling Xiao actually felt a trace of restriction fluctuation from below. Could there be some kind of treasure below? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he followed the steep cliff and headed downwards. The 8 desolate secret land was the central battlefield of the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago. However, according to Ling Xiao's understanding, the most important thing was to seal the strange creatures in the 8 desolate secret land. Therefore, even the few martial arts sanctuaries were wary of the 8 desolate secret land. Although they had obtained many inheritances and treasures, they had not fully explored the 8 desolate secret land. There were many places that were shrouded in a layer of mystery. The lake below was very clear, and there was a faint spiritual energy emitting from it. The surroundings were misty, and it looked very peaceful. In the middle of the lake, there was a small piece of land. There was a very ordinary black tree growing on it. It was only 3 feet tall, and there were 3 black fruits hanging on it. They were the size of longans and looked very ordinary. And the restriction fluctuation that Ling Xiao felt came from that small black tree. Those 3 black fruits, could they be? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as if he had thought of something. There was a trace of excitement in his eyes. Swoosh! Ling Xiao turned into a ray of light as he flew across the lake and landed on the land in the middle. The small black tree in front of him was shrouded in a layer of strange fluctuation, and all the smell was blocked. At a closer look, it was blurry and hazy. Is there really a restriction? If there really is, then it is not strange that there is a restriction around it. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he stretched out his hand and slowly placed it on the small black tree. Crack! A ray of black lightning shot out, and the restriction outside the small black tree was activated. A terrifying killing intent shrouded Ling Xiao, as if it was going to turn him into dust. Ling Xiao looked very calm as he uttered a word. Suddenly, golden divine light burst out from his body and shattered the lightning. Then he slammed heavily on the restriction. Rumble! A layer of ripples appeared outside the small black tree, and the light in the void trembled. At the same time, heaven-devouring true qi spread out from Ling Xiao's hand and slowly devoured the power of the restriction. Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring secret skill could be said to be the nemesis of all restriction formations in the world. When the heaven-devouring secret skill was cultivated to the extreme, it could even devour heaven and earth, not to mention restriction formations. After all, the so-called restriction and formation power were the use of the law of heaven and earth and energy in the void. They were still energy. Once the energy was drained by the heaven-devouring secret skill, no matter how powerful the formation was, it would be destroyed instantly. Bang! Before long, a layer of ripples appeared outside the small black tree. Instantly, the light dimmed and it shattered. Ling Xiao finally saw the shape of the small black tree. It was a small tree that was 30 feet tall. Its whole body was black, and its branches and leaves were as bright as jade. It was very delicate, and it gave off a gentle aura. Especially the 3 fruits. They were the size of longans and looked like black pearls. They gave off a faint black light and a strong fragrance. These are transformation fruits. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he instantly recognized the origin of the 3 black fruits. The transformation fruit was a peerless spiritual medicine. It was very rare and usually grew in places with strong evil qi or the burial grounds of experts above the demonic royal realm. It contained the power to purify the bloodline and could help demonic beasts refine their demonic bodies and transform into human form. There was also a peerless spiritual medicine called the transformation elixir, which used the transformation fruit as the main ingredient. It could help peak rank 6 demonic beasts to break through to the rank 7 demonic king realm. However, the transformation fruit was too rare and had a fatal attraction to demonic beasts. Usually, it would be swallowed by demonic beasts before it was ripe, let alone a ripe transformation fruit. The strong fragrance drifted with the wind and was about to spread out of the lake. Oh no! Chapter 266. The fragrance of the transformation fruit had a fatal attraction to demonic beasts. If the fragrance were to spread and attract those powerful demonic beasts, it would be troublesome. After Ling Xiao plucked the 3 transformation fruits, the small black tree started to wither at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then, it turned into ashes in an instant. With these 3 transformation fruits, as long as I can refine the transformation pill, the Ape King will be able to transform into a rank 7 demon king. It will be enough to protect the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Then, he moved his body and dashed out from the center of the lake. Swoosh! Swoosh. At this moment, 2 figures appeared by the lake and blocked Ling Xiao's path. They were 2 burly young men in black robes. They were tall and had a long breath. Both of them were at level 2 of the Grandmaster realm. Both of them had a faint smile on their faces as they stared at Ling Xiao. Their eyes were cold and there was a hint of greed in them. Little brother, can you show us the treasure you just obtained from the center of the lake? One of the young men in black robes looked at Ling Xiao and asked with a smile. Treasure? I didn't get any treasure. Ling Xiao said indifferently as his eyes flashed. Brat, don't push your luck. I saw you plucking 3 spiritual fruits from the center of the lake. Do you dare to say that you didn't get any? The other young man in black robes stared at Ling Xiao with a cold gaze. His face was filled with arrogance as he stared at Ling Xiao. Little brother, we are here for the 3 spiritual fruits. We didn't expect you to beat us to it. How about this? We won't take advantage of you. Since there are 3 spiritual fruits, we can take 1 each. How about that? The young man with a smile on his face said with a glimmer of light in his eyes. 3 spiritual fruits? Are you talking about this? Ling Xiao's lips curled into a mocking smile. With a flash of light in his hand, 3 shape-shifting fruits appeared in his palm. A rich aroma filled the air. Ling Xiao could tell at a glance that these 2 young men were the geniuses of the great Hong ancient country. He didn't expect that a calamity would befall him. It's these 3 spiritual fruits. The eyes of the 2 young men lit up in an instant, revealing undisguised greed. Although the 2 of them didn't know what the transformation fruit was, they could feel their blood boiling when they smelled the rich fragrance. They knew that these 3 spirit fruits must be supreme treasures. Little brother, you're really something. Huh, the friendly-looking young man laughed as he reached out to grab the fruit. With a flash of light, the 3 fruits were stored in his longevity ring. The 2 young men's faces instantly darkened, and their eyes revealed a trace of cold, killing intent. Brat, are you toying with us? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, That's right. What can you do about it? You're courting death. The cold-looking young man could no longer hold back his anger. A ferocious look appeared on his face as he unleashed his cultivation at LV2 of the Supreme Power Realm. Innate gang qi filled the air and his fingers were like the claws of an eagle, shining with a jade-like luster. Ling Zhao's gaze turned cold, and he also threw out a punch. Bang! The fist and the claw collided, and a muffled sound rang out. The expression of the cold-looking young man, who was originally filled with murderous intent, changed drastically in an instant. He felt an incomparably terrifying divine power attack him. He let out a blood-curdling scream and was instantly sent flying backwards, coughing up blood incessantly. What? The kind-looking young man's expression changed drastically. The young man in front of him was only at the dragon-tiger realm. How could he have such terrifying combat strength? Without thinking, he pulled out a war saber from behind his back. His eyes were burning with killing intent as he slashed at Ling Xiao. Get lost. Ling Xiao kicked the young man's abdomen. The unparalleled divine power from his foot caused the young man's internal organs to churn. His whole body bent like a prawn, and the war saber in his hand couldn't be held steadily. He fell to the ground. The two young men coughed up blood and fell to the ground. They looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of shock. Don't come over? Or you? Looking at the faint smile on Ling Xiao's face, the two of them trembled and revealed a trace of fear. Slap, slap. Ling Xiao walked over and gave them a few slaps. The two young men were stunned and their faces were swollen. How dare you snatch my things? How bold of you! Ling Xiao sneered and hit them hard. The two young men from the great Han ancient country knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Young master, please spare our lives. We won't dare to do it again. The two young men kowtowed as though they were pounding garlic. They wanted to cry but had no tears. Who would have thought that a young man at the Dragon Tiger realm would be so terrifying? The two of them were Grandmaster realm experts, but they couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. Why are the two of you here? Where did Flood Demon go? Ling Xiao looked indifferent as he began to interrogate the two young men. After being beaten up by Ling Xiao, the two of them were much more honest. They directly answered Ling Xiao's questions. After the people from the great Han ancient country entered the 8 Desolation secret area, the two of us were sent out by young Master Flood Demon to scout the way. We accidentally found this lake and sensed that there might be treasures. So, young Master Flood Demon and the others heard that they found a spiritual spring and rushed over there. Hearing the two of them, Ling Xiao's eyes suddenly flashed. Spiritual spring? Where is the spiritual spring? Ling Xiao had a bad feeling in his heart. Could it be the spiritual spring where Ling Qingqing and the others were? If that was the case, it would be terrible. We also don't know where the spiritual spring is. However, we heard that the spiritual spring is between 2 mountains. Young Master Flood Demon is preparing to occupy the spiritual spring before the Yin-Yang Valley opens. The two young men from the great Han ancient country revealed a trace of curiosity in their eyes. However, they still answered honestly. Damn it! Ling Zhao's eyes turned cold. He directly sent out a palm blade and knocked the two young men out. Then, he leaped up, turned into a golden lightning, and flew towards the distance. Sister Qingqing, nothing must happen to the two of you. If anything happens to the two of you, I will make the people from the great Han ancient country accompany you in death. Ling Zhao's eyes were very cold. According to the description of the two young men from the great Han ancient country, the spiritual spring that Flood Demon and the others were going to was the place where Ling Qingqing and the others were. Ling Qingqing, who had the highest cultivation among the group, was probably only at level 3 Grandmaster realm. It was impossible for her to be a match for Flood Demon and the others. The people from the great Han ancient country were definitely not easy to deal with. Once they broke through, Ling Qingqing and the others would be in danger. Chapter 267. In the underground karst cave of Gemini Mountain. Ling Qingqing, Xia Hongxiu, Li Qingfeng, Lu Feng and Lu Yun were surrounded in the middle. They all looked like they were in a sorry state, with streaks of blood on their bodies. Their eyes were filled with rage. Hongsha, we have already given you the spiritual spring. What else do you want? Chengfeng's eyes were red and his aura was surging. His cultivation had reached LV2 of the Grandmaster realm. However, there was a long trail of blood on his back, which dyed his white robe red. Opposite them were 6 young geniuses in black robes. Their eyes were cold and they were holding long swords and sabers, exuding a cold, murderous intent. Hong Sha was dressed in a black robe. His eyes were like lightning as his entire body emitted a black demonic aura. His entire being carried an evil aura. He appeared wild, unrestrained, and very aggressive. He ignored Qingfeng and looked at Xia Hongxiu. He smiled and said, "Princess Hongxiu, I admire you a lot. As long as you agree to be my woman, I will let them go. Otherwise, they will all die." Although Hong Sha was laughing, his voice was extremely arrogant and contained a ghastly baleful aura. "Hong Sha, bastard." Xia Hongxiu's eyes were filled with anger. Her chest heaved up and down. She was very emotional. After Ling Xiao left, the 5 of them cultivated in the spiritual spring. Originally, they planned to cultivate until the Yin-Yang Valley opened before heading to the Yin-Yang Valley. However, they did not expect uninvited guests like Hong Sha to come to the spiritual spring. They had planned to give up the spiritual spring, but Hong Sha had taken a fancy to Xia Hongxiu. He said that if Xia Hongxiu did not agree to be his woman, he would kill Chengfeng, Ling Qingqing and the rest. Hong Sha, Princess Hongxiu is a true disciple of the Sun Moon Star sect. Aren't you afraid that the Sun Moon Star sect will come after you if you touch her? Ling Qingqing stared coldly at Hong Sha. Her face was pale. Ling Qingqing had gained a lot from the 3 days of cultivation. Her cultivation had reached LV4 of the Grandmaster realm, but she was no match for Hong Sha. Hong Sha had cultivated an extremely powerful Tian-level martial art, which caused Ling Qingqing to suffer a great loss and be severely injured. Now, both sides were at daggers drawn. Ling Qingqing, Chengfeng and the rest could not tolerate Hong Sha bringing Xia Hongxiu along. That was why they were in a standoff. Ling Qingqing could only hope that the name of the Sun Moon Star sect could make Hong Sha fear them. Sun Moon Star sect? Hee, no matter how strong they can't control great Hong ancient country. To tell you the truth, when I leave the 8th secret domain, I will become a true disciple of the Terminator demon sect. The Princess Hongxiu is a true disciple of the Terminator demon sect. With me is to be Princess Hongxiu as Hongxiu. Hong Sha sneered. He didn't take the Sun Moon Star sect seriously at all. Black demonic chi surged from his body and his hair danced in the wind. He seemed extremely wild. His burning gaze landed on Xia Hongxiu's body as if he wanted to strip her naked. Princess Hongxiu will never go with you. Hong Sha, if you really want to take Princess Hongxiu away by force, then let's fight to the death. Li Chengfeng laughed coldly, a hint of madness in his eyes. Fight to the death? You don't have the right to do that. Hong Sha laughed disdainfully. Hong Sha, don't be arrogant. If you know what's good for you, let us go. Otherwise, when Ling Xiao returns, you will die. Even Shi Tianluo was defeated by Ling Xiao. Do you think you are stronger than Shi Tianluo? Ling Qingqing's beautiful eyes were filled with anger as she stared at Hong Sha and said coldly, "Ling Xiao? You mean that dragon tiger realm brat? Are you kidding me? How could he defeat Shi Tianluo?" Hong Sha had some impression of Ling Xiao. The image of a handsome young man appeared in his mind. He was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter. Who is Shi Tianluo? He was one of the 10,000 Beasts' 7 disciples, a famous peerless genius in the entire 8 Desolates region. How could Ling Xiao, a mere dragon tiger realm cultivator, defeat Shi Tianluo? Hong Sha's lips curled into a mocking smile. Were these people scared out of their minds? How could they make up such a lie? Hong Sha, this is absolutely true. I advise you to think this through. Although you are strong, you are no match for Ling Xiao. Chengfeng glared at Hong Sha and said coldly. As she watched Ling Qingqing and Li Chengfeng argue, Xia Hongxiu felt a surge of warmth in her heart. She couldn't help but think of Yi Zhang's delicate face. If he was here, perhaps today's crisis would not have happened, right? Xia Hongxiu's heart was filled with complex emotions. Although it was complicated, she really hoped that the young man was here. That young man had a kind of magical power that could always make the impossible possible. As long as he was by her side, there would always be an extra sense of security. So what if you praise Ling Xiao to the heavens? Since you don't want to hand over Xia Hongxiu, you can all die. Hong Sha said disdainfully, a trace of impatience in his eyes. With a wave of his hand, the geniuses of the Great Flood Ancient Kingdom raised their weapons. I've implicated you all. Xia Hongxiu's beautiful eyes reddened as she looked guiltily at Ling Qingqing, Qing Feng, and the rest. There's nothing to feel guilty about. We are all from the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom. How can we be bullied by these bastards? If anything happens to you, I won't be able to answer to Ling Xiao. Ling Qingqing smiled at Xia Hongxiu. That's right. Your Highness will fight it out with them. Ling Xiao will definitely avenge us. Qing Feng gripped the sword in his hand tightly, a trace of determination in his eyes. No, Xia Hongxiu shook her head as if she had made a decision. Her eyes were filled with determination. Stop. Hong Sha, I'll go with you, but you must promise to let them go. Xia Hongxiu said word by word as she stared at Hong Sha. Really? Hongxiu, don't worry. As long as you become my woman, I promise to let them go. Hong Sha's eyes lit up, and he instantly laughed out loud. No. Your Highness, let's fight it out with him. Qingqing and Li Chengfeng gasped in shock and hurriedly tried to dissuade her. You can't die here for me. Hurry up and go find Ling Xiao. If you see him, tell him I'm sorry. Xia Hongxiu's eyes were red, but there was a trace of a smile on her face. She ignored Ling Qingqing and Qingfeng's attempts to stop her and walked towards Hong Sha. Chapter 268. A few years ago, when he was at his lowest point, when he had tasted the fickleness of human nature, he had unintentionally seen that young girl smiling at him and giving him a hot steamed bun. From then on, that young girl had become the goddess of his dreams. He thought about it day and night and cultivated like crazy. In just a few years, he had many miraculous encounters and his cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. All of this was because he wanted to see the girl again. Now, he found out that Xia Hongxiu was that girl. That was why he wanted to make Xia Hongxiu his woman at all costs. It had become his obsession. Now that his dream was about to come true, he felt a sick pleasure in his heart. Xia Hongxiu walked closer until she was only 3 feet away from him. As if she saw him in a daze, a sharp glint flashed in her eyes. A snow-white dagger flew through the air and slashed towards Hong Sha's neck at lightning speed. Xia Hongxiu did not believe that Hong Sha would let Ling Qingqing, Li Chengfeng and the rest go. That was why she was prepared to take the risk and assassinate Hong Sha. As long as they killed Hong Sha, the biggest threat, they would have a chance to escape. Clang. The snow-white dagger was as fast as lightning, instantly landing on his neck. However, the expected scene of blood splattering did not happen. Instead, there was the sound of metal clashing. Sparks flew as if the dagger had struck a metal rock. His neck was as hard as a rock, emitting a gray glow and blocking the dagger. But Hong Sha woke up, his eyes filled with pain and hatred. He glared at Xia Hongxiu, as if he was about to devour her. Stop dreaming. Even if I die, I won't be your woman. Xia Hongxiu clenched her teeth and snorted coldly. The dagger in her hand instantly turned into 9 afterimages in the void like a long river, aiming at the vital parts of Hong Sha's body. Boom! Hong Sha looked like he was about to go crazy. Demonic qi surged from his body and a terrifying Xiantian qi exploded, shattering all the blade lights. At the same time, his hand shot out like black lightning and grabbed Xia Hongxiu's neck. I've worked so hard just to get you. Why don't you want to be my woman? Hong Sha roared at the top of his lungs. His eyes were filled with madness. Because you are a lunatic. Xia Hongxiu's face was completely red. She felt like she was about to suffocate, but she still stubbornly stared at Hong Sha and said, Lunatic? That's right, I am indeed a lunatic. Since that's the case, then all of you can go to hell. Kill them all. Hong Sha seemed to have gone mad. His black hair was disheveled, and his blood-red eyes suddenly looked at Li Chengfeng and the others as he roared. Yes. The 6 young geniuses of the Great Flood Ancient Country replied in unison. Their eyes were filled with incomparably cold killing intent as they charged towards Cheng Feng and the others. Boom! A fierce battle instantly broke out. Among the 6 young geniuses of the Great Flood Ancient Country, the weakest was at level 2 of the Great Flood Ancient Country. 2 of them were at level 3 of the Great Flood Ancient Country, 2 of them were at level 4 of the Great Flood Ancient Country, and 1 of them was at level 5 of the Great Flood Ancient Country. Their cultivations were far superior to Cheng Feng and Ling Qingqing. In addition, Cheng Feng and Ling Qingqing were both injured. Hence, when the battle broke out, Ling Qingqing and the others were in a tough battle. They were at a disadvantage and were in imminent danger. Let them go. Xia Hongxiu's eyes were filled with anxiety. She coughed violently and looked at Hong Sha with a pleading gaze. Now you know how to beg me? It's too late. Today, I will let you watch them die in front of you. Anyway, I never intended to let them go. Hong Sha laughed as he pinched Xia Hongxiu's snow-white neck. His face flushed a sickly red as he laughed. Cough cough. Ling Xiao will not let you go. Xia Hongxiu's eyes were filled with despair. She slowly closed her eyes and 2 streams of tears flowed down. Who does Ling Xiao think he is? He should be glad that he isn't here. Otherwise, I would be the first to kill him. Hearing that Xia Hongxiu was still pinning her hopes on Ling Xiao, Hong Sha's heart was filled with an unknown rage as he roared. Kill me? Who do you think you are? At this moment, a cold and indifferent voice rang out in the karst cave. Xia Hongxiu, who had closed her eyes and accepted her fate, suddenly opened her eyes. She was crying tears of joy. He's back. He's finally back. Swoosh. A beam of golden divine light shot through the sky. It contained a cold and terrifying presence. Like a golden bolt of lightning, it shot down towards Hong Sha. Who's there? Hong Sha's expression changed as he felt the terrifying aura rapidly approaching him. Without hesitation, the demonic aura around his body surged and his blood boiled. A terrifying fist aura that contained a trace of the destruction of the heavens and earth went up to meet the attack. Boom! The entire underground karst cave shook violently as a terrifying divine power swept out in all directions. Ling Xiao was enveloped in golden divine light. His eyes were indifferent as he appeared where Hong Sha was originally and snatched Xia Hongxiu away from Hong Sha. On the other hand, Hong Sha was sent flying dozens of feet away by Ling Xiao's punch. He slammed heavily into a rock wall in the distance with a loud boom. The rocks turned into dust. The aura was terrifying. Are you all right? Ling Xiao carried Xia Hongxiu and put her down. There was a trace of worry in his eyes. I'm fine. Thank you. Xia Hongxiu's face reddened. She did not dare to look into Ling Xiao's eyes. After leaving Ling Xiao's embrace, she felt a sense of loss. She had mixed feelings. Ling Xiao is back. Ling Xiao, kill these bastards. If you came back a little later, we would have died at the hands of these bastards. Cheng Feng and Ling Qingqing were overjoyed. They perked up and forced their opponents to retreat. The worry in their hearts was swept away. Sister Qingqing, Cheng Feng, I'm glad you're fine. Leave the rest to me. Ling Xiao smiled and heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Luckily, he was not too late. Ling Xiao's gaze fell on Lu Feng and Lu Yun. He saw that they were in a sorry state. Their clothes were tattered but they did not suffer any injuries. The blood stains on their bodies were only superficial wounds. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a trace of brilliance. He then slowly regained his composure. You're Ling Xiao? Level 5 Dragon Tiger Realm. You have such terrifying combat strength. No wonder they said that Shi Tian was defeated by you. It seems like the rumors are true. Chapter 269. You deserve to die. Ling Xiao looked at Hong Sha with a cold, murderous intent in his eyes. From the injuries on Ling Qingqing and the rest, it was obvious that Hong Sha and the rest wanted to kill. If Ling Xiao had arrived a little later, Ling Qingqing and the rest would have been in danger. Ling Xiao was filled with murderous intent towards the people from the Great Hong Ancient Country. Ha! How arrogant! I would like to see how you, a mere level 5 Dragon Tiger Realm martial artist, are qualified to defeat Shi Tianluo. Hongsha laughed out loud. Black devil chi rose from his body. There seemed to be a devil light flickering in his eyes. It was dark and evil. A sense of nirvanic extermination spread out. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Rumble. The void shook as black demon chi rolled over. The wailing of ghosts and the howling of wolves disturbed one's mind. Extermination demon fist. As Hongsha roared, countless fist shadows appeared in an instant and pressed down on Ling Xiao from the sky. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold as blood rose from his body. He held the Vajra fist print and used the Cloud Dragon 9 transformation technique. His aura was majestic and his fist force was unparalleled. Bang! When the two fists collided, Ling Xiao did not move an inch while Hongsha was sent flying by Ling Xiao. However, Hongsha's figure made a circle in the void and deflected Ling Xiao's divine force at a strange angle. He then charged at Ling Xiao at an even faster speed. Bang! 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 The demon light grew brighter and brighter as Hongsha's eyes were filled with madness. The extermination demon fist that he cultivated was a heaven-class lower-grade martial skill. It contained the power to exterminate everything and was extremely good at borrowing force to attack force. Therefore, after exchanging a few blows with Ling Xiao, although his physical strength was not as strong as Ling Xiao's, he was able to borrow Ling Xiao's strength to unleash a terrifying force. Kacha! Black thunderbolts swept across the void. Hongsha's eyes were cold as he looked like a demon god. His black hair was scattered and he was bathed in thunderbolts. He attacked Ling Xiao with the power of the extermination demon fist. Borrowing force to attack force? I am the master of this world. I would like to see how you are going to borrow force. A cold glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as his heaven-devouring true qi erupted. The endless demonic qi, gang qi, and blood qi in the void were all devoured by him, forming a vacuum in an instant. The strength of Hongsha's fist weakened. Ling Xiao seized the opportunity and leaped over. He punched Hongsha in the back and sent him flying dozens of feet away. He crashed heavily into the rock wall in the distance. Crack! A large chunk of the rock wall was shattered and the ground was trembling. However, a layer of gray light appeared on Hongsha's body. It was as though nothing had happened. He stood up from the ground. No wonder you were able to defeat Shi Tianluo. I'm afraid you're the only one in the 8 Desolates region who has such terrifying battle prowess at the 5th level of the Dragon Tiger realm. But today you will still die. Hongsha's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. However, his battle intent also grew stronger. Moreover, his body was covered by a layer of gray light. It looked like a stone wall that wrapped around him. The aura emanating from Hongsha's body rose to its limits at this moment. Rumble! Hongsha broke through the air. The cultivation that erupted from him had exceeded the 5th level of the Grandmaster realm and was heading towards the 6th or 7th level of the Grandmaster realm. Gifted superpower? Ling Xiao was shocked. He did not expect Hongsha to be a bloodline master. Moreover, he was a demon who had awakened a gifted superpower. This talent was even more terrifying than Shi Tianluo's. Hongsha's awakened gifted superpower seemed to be a defensive type of superpower. His body was as tough as diamond and indestructible. Just like Ling Xiao's terrifying punch that landed on Hongsha's body, it did not cause any harm to him. Rumble! Hongsha strode over like a stone man. Demonic qi surged from his body. With the combination of his gifted superpower and the demonic nirvana fist, he unleashed a power that terrified everyone. Why is Hongsha so powerful? Ling Xiao can't defeat him, can he? Li Chengfeng secretly clicked his tongue and his face turned pale. Hongsha's current appearance was like a demon god. Li Chengfeng's heart palpitated at the sight of him. He did not witness the battle between Ling Xiao and Shi Tianluo, so he could not help but feel a little worried. Don't worry. He won't be defeated. Although Ling Qingqing's eyes were filled with worry, she was still confident in Ling Xiao. She had witnessed the battle between Ling Xiao and Shi Tianluo. Although Hongsha was powerful, he was only on par with Shi Tianluo or even slightly weaker. Naturally, he was no match for Ling Xiao. Ling Qingqing could feel that Ling Xiao was much more powerful than when he fought Shi Tianluo. Kill them. At this moment, The 6 young geniuses under Hong Sha also charged towards Ling Qingqing and the rest with murderous intent in their eyes. Stellar energy surged and the earth quaked. The entire underground cavern trembled as if it would collapse at any moment. Although Ling Qingqing and the rest tried their best to defend, they were no match for the 6 young geniuses. "You're courting death." A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. He threw a punch and the golden divine light was dazzling. It was as if a Vajra had descended from the void, emitting golden lightning. He had unleashed the Vajra demon fist to the extreme. What? A young man at LV4 of the Grandmaster realm was scared out of his wits. Sensing the fatal danger, he slashed his saber behind him without hesitation. At the same time, he unleashed all of his Xiantian Qi to defend himself. Boom! After cultivating the Earth Dragon body, how terrifying was Ling Zhao's physical body now? The light in the void exploded and the young man's saber was instantly shattered by Ling Zhao's punch. Then, Ling Zhao's punch landed heavily on the young man's back. The young man's back caved in instantly and many of his bones were broken. Blood spurted out of his mouth and his body flew forward involuntarily. Kill! Li Chengfeng, who was suppressed by him, saw the opportunity and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The long sword in his hand instantly slashed across the young man's neck. Instantly, the young man's head flew up and blood spurted out. The remaining 5 young geniuses trembled in fear and looked at Ling Xiao with fear in their eyes. Wasn't this young man too terrifying? When he was fighting with Hong Sha, he could still divert his attention to kill one of them. If Hong Sha wasn't here, he would have killed all of them. Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Ling Zhao's killing of the young man infuriated Hong Sha. He unleashed his innate divine ability. The Nirvana demon fist traversed the void like a demon dragon and blasted towards Ling Xiao. He was not angry because Ling Xiao killed the young man. He was angry because Ling Xiao dared to divert his attention while fighting with him. Ling Xiao was looking down on him. Boom! Hong Sha's punch was extremely fast and landed on Ling Zhao's body in an instant. Endless demon qi erupted and enveloped Ling Xiao. Chapter 270. Ling Xiao was sent flying for more than 100 feet. His internal organs were slightly shaken. One had to admit that after Hong Sha unleashed his innate ability, his combat strength had increased by several folds. It did pose a certain threat to Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao only glanced at him coldly. Taking advantage of the time he was sent flying, he instantly appeared in front of the 2 geniuses of the Great Flood ancient country. His qi and blood surged, emitting a clear dragon's roar. He punched out with both fists, like 2 golden dragons emerging from the sea, unstoppable. Although the 2 geniuses of the Great Hong ancient country had decent combat strength, they were far inferior to Hong Sha. They couldn't even withstand a single move from Ling Xiao. Ling Zhao's terrifying physical strength erupted. The 2 geniuses simply didn't have any chance to resist. In an instant, they were heavily injured and were sent flying while coughing out blood. This allowed Qingqing and Xia Hongxiu to seize the opportunity. They instantly flew up and ended the 2 geniuses' lives. In an instant, 3 out of the 6 geniuses of the Great Hong ancient country had died in battle. Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you. Hong Sha was about to go crazy. Smoke was coming out of his mouth and nose. His eyes were filled with crazy killing intent. He fully activated the Nirvana demonic fist. Demonic qi rose up like the sea. A black demonic fist appeared behind him. It emitted an ancient and terrifying aura. It wanted to cause everything in the world to fall into nirvana. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with killing intent. His entire body was covered with dazzling golden clouds. A golden vortex appeared behind his head. At this moment, the earth trembled. 4 types of terrifying power spread out from Ling Zhao's body. The earth was heavy, the sea was turbulent, the astral winds were devastating, and the raging flames were surging. The power of the 4 symbols fused together and condensed in Ling Zhao's palm. It erupted with a power that could destroy the sky. 4 symbols sky striking style. This move was sublimated to the extreme. In an instant, more than half of Ling Zhao's power was used to suppress Hong Sha. Nirvana Demonic Fist vs 4 Symbols Sky Striking Style. Rumble. In an instant, the heavens and earth went silent. The huge rocks in the surroundings all exploded at this moment. Everywhere was a vast expanse of whiteness, covering everything. When the light dissipated, the layer of gray stone wall on Hong Sha's body actually cracked like a spider web with a cracking sound, and it instantly shattered. As for the black demonic fist, it was also reduced to dust by the divine light of 4 divisions. Hong Sha's face paled as he coughed up blood. He smashed heavily into the ground, leaving behind a human-shaped crater. His aura became extremely weak. Even though Ling Qingqing and Xia Hongxiu had seen Ling Xiao defeat Shi Tianluo before, they were still shocked when they saw Ling Xiao execute the 4 elephants sky striking style again. Li Chengfeng, on the other hand, was dumbfounded. He looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of admiration. Lu Feng and Lu Yun were still very shy. Their eyes were filled with shock, but there was also an indescribable feeling in them. "Young Master Hong, are you all right?" The remaining 3 young geniuses were also scared out of their wits by Ling Xiao. How could they still have the will to fight? They hurriedly ran over and helped Hong Sha up. "Cough cough. I'm fine," Hong Sha said with some difficulty. His eyes were filled with shock as he looked at Ling Xiao. His gifted superpower was called the Bronze Battle Body. Although he had not cultivated to the point where he was invincible and invincible, he had already tried it. If he fully activated the Bronze Battle Body, even a level 9 Grandmaster expert would find it difficult to break through it. This was where his confidence came from. However, he did not expect Ling Xiao to break through it with a single punch. The power that Ling Xiao unleashed in an instant made him feel as though an expert of the celestial realm was attacking him. The unparalleled divine power that surged in all directions and suppressed everything sent chills down his spine. Bang! Ling Xiao strode towards Hong Sha. The murderous intent in his eyes was extremely cold. Hong Sha's face instantly turned ghastly pale. He realized that he had underestimated Ling Xiao. Now that he was in danger, perhaps everyone in Hong ancient country would die here. However, at this moment, an evil, dark, and strange aura spread out. From the depths of the underground karst cave, a strange black fog surged out. It was like the huge mouth of an Archean ferocious beast, swallowing everyone. Shit! Ling Zhao's face changed drastically. He instantly thought of the terrifying strange creature in the depths of the karst cave. Let's go! Ling Zhao's body flashed. He could not care less about killing Hong Sha. In an instant he stood behind Ling Qingqing and the rest. He unleashed his devouring true qi and activated the wordless heavenly book to block the strange black fog. What's that? Li Chengfeng and the rest's expressions changed. Although they did not know what this strange black fog was, they could feel a terrifying wave of energy coming from it. The strange black fog was fatal to them. When they heard Ling Zhao's words, they did not hesitate at all. All of them leaped and tried to escape from the underground karst cave. This is a good chance. Hong Sha originally thought that he was going to die. He did not expect such a sudden change of events. Ling Xiao no longer cared about killing him. He immediately escaped from the underground karst cave with the other 3 youths from Hong ancient country. Roar! A terrifying sound wave came from the depths of the karst cave. It contained a terrifying power that could cause one's blood to boil and one's heart to explode. Ling Zhao's face was extremely solemn. Could it be that the terrifying creature underground had broken free from the suppression of the Universal Demon Suppression Array and was about to come out? However, Ling Xiao instinctively felt that it was impossible. He was very clear about the power of the Universal Demon Suppression Array. Although the strange creature was very terrifying, it was impossible for it to break free now. Something must have happened that Ling Xiao did not know about. Seeing that Ling Qingqing and the rest had safely escaped from the underground karst cave, Ling Xiao no longer resisted the strange black fog. He instantly turned into a ray of golden light and flew out of the underground karst cave. Outside Gemini Mountain, Ling Qingqing and the rest were waiting anxiously. When they saw Ling Xiao appear, they heaved a sigh of relief. Ling Xiao, we did not manage to stop Hong Sha and the rest. They escaped. Cheng Feng said embarrassedly. After all, Hong Sha had been severely injured by Ling Xiao. The other 3 geniuses from Hong ancient country did not have high cultivation. If they could not stop them, they were too useless. It's okay. If we have the chance to kill them in the future, we will leave this place quickly. Ling Xiao looked at the Gemini mountain behind him with a solemn gaze. His heart was shrouded in a layer of shadow. He could not care about Hong Sha anymore. He quickly led Cheng Feng, Ling Qingqing and the rest into the distance. Rumble. In the 8 desolate mystery region, the originally dark sky suddenly exploded with the sound of thunder. Endless strong winds howled and the sea of clouds surged. 2 mysterious beams of light, one black and one white, rushed into the sky, forming the shape of a mysterious Taiji diagram in the void. The Yin-Yang Valley is open. Ling Qingqing's eyes flashed. She instantly revealed a look of incomparable joy. The black and white divine rays in the void were the rising of Yin and Yang Qi. It would only appear when the Yin-Yang Valley was open. Let's go. Chapter 271. In the center of the 8 Desolation secret territory, there were 4 towering mountains that pierced through the clouds, exuding a majestic and ancient aura. In the center of the 4 mountains, there was a huge valley that was shrouded in clouds, looking peaceful and mysterious. At this moment, the clouds in the valley were rolling and black and white divine light shot out from the ground, shooting into the clouds and forming a huge Tai Chi diagram in the void. This valley was the Yin-Yang Valley. In the Yin-Yang Valley, there was an ancient Yin-Yang pool. It looked square with a radius of 1,000 feet and was shrouded in clouds all year round. At this moment, the Yin-Yang pool was filled with spiritual light, and Yin and Yang Qi flowed within, looking very mysterious. When Ling Xiao and Ling Qingqing arrived at the Yin-Yang Valley, they saw that there were already many people in the Yin-Yang pool. On the east side were Huang Yunji, Sun Feng, and the people from the great Huang ancient country. In the mustard seed formation at the Immortality Peach Tree, 4 people from the great Huang ancient country died in the stomach of the long-armed giant ape, so there were only 5 people left. On the west side were Ji Shuiyao and the people from the great Xian ancient country. Originally, there were 9 people, but 2 were dead, leaving 7 people. They were all sitting in the Yin-Yang pool, absorbing the Yin and Yang baleful qi. Hong Sha and the other 3 were sitting on the north side, surrounded by the Yin and Yang baleful qi, and their auras were gradually increasing. Ling Xiao also saw Chen Fengdao and Tang Xian in the corner, as well as the arrogant young man who acted alone. They were all in the Yin-Yang pool, racing against time to cultivate. Other than those who died in the 8 Desolation secret territory, everyone else had gathered in the Yin-Yang Valley. In comparison, Ling Xiao and the others were the last to arrive. He's still alive? The arrival of Ling Xiao and the others alarmed the people in the Yin-Yang pool. Huang Yunji and Sun Feng's eyes revealed a trace of shock, and their faces turned ugly. Especially Sun Feng, who had tricked Ling Xiao and sealed the mustard seed formation. He originally thought that Ling Xiao had died in the hands of the long-armed ape king, but he came out unscathed. Don't worry about him. Let's absorb the Yin and Yang baleful qi first. When my cultivation is complete, it will be time for him to die. Sun Feng looked at Huang Yunji and said slowly. Huang Yunji nodded and closed his eyes again, continuing to refine the Yin-Yang evil qi in the Yin-Yang pool. When Hong Sha, Chen Fengdao, Tang Xian, and the others saw Ling Xiao, their eyes flickered with cold murderous intent. However, they soon withdrew their murderous intent. Their figures were submerged in the Yin and Yang baneful qi, and they did not do anything. Only Ji Shuiyao and the others were pleasantly surprised. They were the most worried about Ling Xiao. Now that Ling Xiao had come out of the mustard seed array, they were relieved. Don't worry about me. First, refine the Yin-Yang baleful qi and cultivate. Ling Xiao sent a voice transmission to Ji Shuiyao and smiled at her. Ji Shuiyao nodded her head. She looked at Ling Xiao, then at Xia Hongxiu and Ling Qingqing. She closed her eyes and continued to cultivate. Let's make the best use of our time and cultivate. Ling Xiao led Ling Qingqing, Li Chengfeng, and the rest into the yin-yang pond and sat cross-legged on the southern side. The yin-yang baleful qi in the yin-yang valley was the essence of heaven and earth. It contained the power of creation. Not only could it cleanse one's marrow, it could also help one achieve breakthroughs in cultivation. However, the yin-yang valley would only be open for 3 days. After 3 days, the yin-yang baleful qi that had accumulated over the past 10 years would be exhausted. Therefore, no matter how great their hatred was, everyone put down their grudges and focused on absorbing the yin-yang baleful qi. The black yin-yang baleful qi and the white yang baleful qi intertwined, containing a strange power. They did not need to expend any effort to refine it. As long as they used their cultivation techniques to absorb it, they would be able to convert it into their own cultivation. Ling Xiao sat in the yin-yang pool, feeling the ethereal yin-yang baleful qi around him. He was excited. I've finally found a place of extreme yang and yin. As long as I refine the divine yin essence and divine sun stone, yin and yang will complement each other. The heaven-devouring spiritual seed will be able to nurture the heaven-devouring golden lotus, and the heaven-devouring secret skill will be able to break through to the second level. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a look of anticipation. He had obtained the divine yin essence and divine sun stone in the royal capital. However, he had not found a place of extreme yin and yang. That was why he had not broken through. Now that the yin-yang pool was filled with yin-yang baleful qi, it was boundless. With the divine yin essence and divine sun stone, it was the best time for Ling Xiao to break through. Boom! Ling Xiao's entire body emitted a powerful aura. Golden divine light pervaded the air and coiled around his body. Moreover, there were mysterious runes that emitted a bright light. The heaven-devouring secret skill exploded. Ling Xiao seemed to have turned into a devouring vortex. A large amount of yin-yang baleful qi began to surge towards him. In Ling Xiao's energy center, the heaven-devouring spiritual seed emitted a 5-colored light. It was like a bright sun, floating in the air above his energy center. It was extremely mysterious. At this moment, under Ling Xiao's control, the heaven-devouring spiritual seed shone brightly. Thousands of rays of light shone brightly. The yin-yang baleful qi was devoured by Ling Xiao. Finally, it gathered around the heaven-devouring spiritual seed, forming a mysterious Tai Chi diagram. The Tai Chi diagram supported the heaven-devouring spiritual seed. Vaguely, it seemed like the heaven-devouring spiritual seed was about to merge into the Tai Chi diagram. As Ling Xiao devoured more and more of the yin-yang baleful qi, the heaven-devouring spirit seed's aura grew stronger and stronger. The 5 elemental divine light flowed and formed a mysterious resonance with the Tai Chi diagram, causing the sea of qi in his dantian to surge. Chaotic mist filled the air and golden lightning flashed. Ling Xiao's energy center seemed to be splitting the world apart. Endless heaven-devouring true qi surged and waves of qi rose to the sky. Now's the time. Ling Xiao's heart shook. The divine yin essence and divine sun stone flew out from the longevity ring. They turned into 2 rays of light and were devoured by Ling Xiao in an instant. In the yin-yang pool, yin-yang baleful qi flowed. The light was dazzling and there were explosions of yin-yang baleful qi. It was a shocking scene. Everyone was in a state of cultivation. They only left a strand of their consciousness to guard against Ling Xiao. Since Ling Xiao caused a small commotion, no one paid attention to him. Ling Qingqing, Li Chengfeng, the Lu siblings and the rest sat cross-legged in the distance. Their bodies were enveloped by the yin-yang baleful qi. They were all working hard to improve their cultivation. Boom! In Ling Xiao's dantian qi sea, there was a sudden clap of thunder and chaotic fog surged. After Ling Xiao swallowed the divine sun stone and the divine moon essence, the true devouring fire burned fiercely, melting the 2 treasures in an instant. The divine yin essence and divine sun stone represented the 2 supreme treasures of yin and yang, especially the divine sun stone. Even the sun-moon star sect did not have many of them. It was formed from the essence of the sun and contained the laws of yang. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.